Hello, everyone, and a very welcome back to the Formula Sprint 2 racing after what we have seen from an incredible 3 rounds of exciting, exhilarating racing action here. We'll still remain in the desert as we just go across from the pond a little bit, from Bahrain over to Saudi Arabia. The Jeddah circuit, which is one of the fastest, actually the fastest street circuit in the world, will play host here to the 4th round of the Formula Sprint 2 race here for round 4. And what a joy it's going to be. 15 laps of the feature, 12 laps of the sprint. It's going to be all to play for here to see who can get that momentum as we head over through to a new track as well, upcoming very shortly. But until then, we still got a lot more to go through. Remco and Zeeuw with us here at the broadcasting directive side of things. And joining alongside me again, once again, is my very good friend, Lorenzo Eterovic-Funcic. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. And I hope everyone else is doing well. I think the people who need to be doing the most well out of anyone today are the drivers we're seeing here on track. Oh, there's front wing there. So obviously some drivers doing less well than others, but yeah, it's been 3 rounds so far. On to the 4th one. It's already a quarter of the season that's passed us, even though it's only been, what, just about a month and a half. And after the first 3 rounds, I mean, you can see that the clear favorites for the driver standing has already been established, Amir.
Absolutely. After what we've come through to Bahrain, we had our first repeat winner in Ben Skinner in race one after an incredible duel between Kurtz and Lefkowski. Ended horribly from them both, and Skinner, as I said, was quite a steal to get that race win. Casper did manage to redeem himself, come for the next race in Bahrain, which managed he gets the net lead from the round three in the end with 41 points, better than his teammate. In fact, Casper has outscored his teammate in the last two races, but Ben Skinner still running high from that first and second in Melbourne means that he holds on to the lead. Glomsetter, meanwhile, still holds on through to a joint second place with 90 points. He's been pretty consistent throughout the first 3 rounds, so we'll see how well he can do that. Filip Savinski down for fourth. Lukowski, even though he didn't make his appearance in his home race, he's kind of been making his way up, and the fact that he's fifth is just going to show just how great the Macedonian driver has been, as he's still eyeing for his first race win, keep in mind. Same with Jonas Corella following through down behind in sixth, who's currently on 50 points. Evander Smithson and David De Vries, both for VMS Sun and its racing, doing very well with 46 and 43 respectively. They beat Magnus Ockenhag, who's on 38, and Thijs Junction is the one that completes our through to the top 10 at the moment. So yeah, quite an interesting way it stands for the first 3 races, and Jeddah is going to well and truly confirm to see who will either like push themselves up to that championship lead with championship challenge with Skinner and Kurtz and Glomsetter, and who can find themselves like in the midst of a midfield battle. So Jeddah's going to be a bit of that we're going to see that kind of separate a little bit more, or it could be bundling up together. So really time will tell. 15 minutes of qualifying will begin underway, and I must say, Lorenzo, you and I both have raced here a week ago, actually, back in the academy. So what can we see these drivers to like expect of in terms of like navigating around the circuit, would you say?
Well, first of all, I'd say beg your pardon, I'd say racing around here is quite a strong word for me last week. Let's leave it at that. But obviously I think one of the key things drivers will be looking at here is the tires, because other than Sector 1, I really don't see many areas where drivers can properly warm their tyres. And I've heard some drivers say that the tyre wear is very, very minimal, but so are the tyre temps. So I think it'll be interesting to see how many drivers get caught out because of the lack of the heat in their tyres, and whether it affects anyone's races or not.
Yeah, that's quite a good thing to look out for, because it's not only just going to impact them during like the race, but also during qualifying too, because well, it's also a very long outlap as well. So have to try and maximize the opportunity as much as you can. And I know you said that racing here was a bit of a stretch, but I think there's also other elements as well that you can tell from experience that that's also worth talking about.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning that obviously it's a night race, so the further we go in the sessions we're having tonight, the further the track temperatures will drop, meaning, again, tyre temperatures will also be harder to improve upon, meaning, again, even less chances to warm your tyres. So, again, another thing that drivers have to think about. Obviously, for starting this season, the second races for Formula Sprint 2 are shorter than the first races, and now we do have a proper feature and sprint race format, as opposed to up until this season basically, where both races were the same length. But nevertheless, the track temperatures, as I mentioned, will be dropping the further on we go, so tyre temperatures will also take quite a hit in that.
Absolutely. So we've got qualifying people going to start through to their first laps, and going to be interested to see who will set a strong benchmark. Glomsetter, who we're right on now, he's gone for 44.65 into the first sector, so we're going to expect to see that go up a little bit more. You can see with the camera vibrations, that just because it's in a private session, so people are kind of going all simultaneously. So again, that's well, this is also partially the good thing about having private qualifying, at least in Formula Sprint 2, is that less traffic really to deal with, and it's just you and the track, isn't it? So very, very beneficial, I think. Otherwise, can you imagine the hecticness it would be if it was a public qualifying session?
I don't think we'd be able to set half the laps that people have been, and we saw right there Christian Glomset going a bit further wide on the inside of that quite medium speed right-hander through the well, you can't really say fast chicane, but we saw how much of off track he went, and the lap time is still valid. Once he crosses the finish line here, I'd like to point something out that I myself noticed during the academy race last week. As Christian Glom said, his purples have gone away, but he's still good enough for 4th as it stands, although he seems to be under threat immediately. But as Alex Day starts his lap time in a special livery for Elk International, I quite like that. But anyways, as I was saying, the track limits around Jeddah this year are very, very lenient. I've seen many drivers take quite liberal amount of curbs through some turns, which gets them several hundredths, several thousandths, but those hundredths and thousands will be enough to improve in qualifying and possibly the race, as Justin van der Smissen took too much of the track, and that definitely won't be a valid lap time. Which is a shame for the Dutchman, as he is currently 24th, but with 10.5 seconds left, 10.5 minutes left in qualifying, he's got plenty of time to improve. And Victor Bernat does as well, currently 23rd, and this won't be a valid lap for the Spaniard either.
Yep, Savinsky, very good benchmark for himself at 59. He's going to try and recreate his Suzuka successes, which I think was the last time that he clinched pole position. But Tice Juncture, speaking with him, the fact that he's so close to Ben Skier, the current championship leader, by only about 300ths is nothing short of impressive. And there you go, he's gone a little bit wide for once again, but I think it will still be valid. The Dutch driver navigating through to the final sector now. He'll just got the final hairpin of turn 27 really left to go, but seems to be like almost a net gain for him. It's I think so. Is just about 4,000 slower, but if he could get himself like 4,000 quicker, then he could well truly improve. So we have to see what Tice can do. Gonna go right across the line. What's he gonna put the American outfit? He will put it into provisional parliament with a 50.9. Ben's gonna immediately respond with a 50.7, and already we get to see positions shifting and shifting. Mateusz Puszkan, who's a last-minute replacement in McManus Motorsports, heads into the pits. He's been saying how strong of a circuit this is for him, and you can well and truly see that with P5 on the board.
Yeah, Mateusz Puszkan coming back to Formula Sprint 2 and just GPWC in general after a bit of a poor year from himself last year, starting in super lights and underperforming, objectively speaking, to his abilities. There, dropping back down to Formula Sprint 2. Actually, no, sorry. He did not drop down to Formula Sprint 2, he was just fully out of super lights and did not compete, if I remember correctly, in the remainder of the season, bar one outing in Academy. I think it was Zandvoort, the penultimate round last year. But nevertheless, he'd be hoping that he can get back on track. I don't think he'll be committing to more than just Jeddah, but I think a good result here would do wonders for him and for McManus as well, as this is the 4th round so far, and McManus a bit of a revolving door in that second driver seat. They've had 4 different drivers across these 4 rounds already, the only mainstay so far being Alfie Denley, and there's a bit of a similar situation over in Chimera Racing Team as well, where Rafael Lohem is the only driver who have done all the 4 races for the team so far, as Jonas Carola quite liberally smacks the wall there on the inside. Camera Racing Team, currently in 18th and 19th, have Chris Davies as their second driver today. Bit of a recognizable name in R-Factor 2 circles, but mostly for endurance racing. The Team Iris, so to say, superstar, has decided to hop in for the team that he has quite good ties with, as Jonas Carola goes into a magnificent P6, although I do think he will improve on that as a 51.4 from the Finnish driver, and I think he can do better, as I do also think that Filip Czerwinski can do better. I do see him contending for pole here.
Yeah, I think so as well. But we'll see how much time that he'll have left. Savinsky completely throwing his car around the track through to the first sector. Previously held the provisional pole, the first one, but got beaten by Skinner and Yogstra. His teammate is it's his second new teammate that he's running through this season. His previous one was Nova McKenna for a one-off in Bahrain. This time round, it will be Mitja Luvnik, who did I think an appearance in the academy, if I'm not mistaken. And speaking of which, also doing very well as he's up into the top 10, currently sitting a little bit comfortably in 8th at the moment. And you can see it's really exactly what McKenna Racing needs to get some very vital points on the board to kind of join that battle for the top 3 on the team standings.
Yeah, I do think McKenna Racing could be one of the teams in contention for that 3rd place in the standings.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Goodness me, that was a throw and a half there by Jonas, and he managed to save it absolutely well. I'm not sure if it will cost him in this 3rd sector. I think he should be fine, and we could be seeing an overall net improvement there from the Finnish driver. Just got, again, the 27th turn to go. Oh, and a bit of a wiggle there. That's not a very good entry there for the Finnish driver, and a bang onto the wall. I think it's, I think that lap might be a little bit of a... It really is. He's still going to commit to it. So it means it's not costly, and yeah, it's P5, but really what could have been for Jonas if it was just a bit more cleaner. You were saying about McKenna Racing? Sorry for interrupting you there.
Well, I was talking about McKenna Racing, but McManus Motorsports is the one on screen right now. Mateusz Pishan with a purple sector 1. Will he go on pole position? No, but he will break back into the top 5. In 4th position, I think as it stands, this would be the best qualifying collectively for McManus Motorsports. Mateusz Pishan up in 4th place, and Alfie Denley down in 30th without a lap yet, but I do think he will contend for the top 10 at the very least. David Yunt currently in 7th hasn't improved. And yeah, I was talking about McKenna Racing being one of the teams potentially in that fight for top 3 in the team standings. I think it's going to be between Orbit and Fox for the top 2 places. But I think there's quite a lot of teams that can contend for that 3rd place. I think McKenna is in there. I think Priority 1 is in there, as well as Leila Petralia is running without a front
missing
wing.
Front wing? Yeah, lost it in. Yeah, it's lost it through to the 1st sector. You could just see 7 seconds. That's unfortunate there from an Italian driver who just recently scored her first points back in Bahrain in race 2. So Hunter Birch scores the first one onto the board. Mark now through to the 3rd sector. He's going to go. He's a yellow into the 2nd sector, so I think it's about 5/10 off. So not sure if that will be an improvement for him. I was wondering if his front wing was gone as well, but I can't really tell because it's black on a black track. So I think he still has his front wing. Yeah, he does.
He does.
It's hard to look. It's hard to look with this thing, but. For the final corner, he is going to go. He slides as much as the apex he's going to go. I think the other thing as well is that the curbs are a bit different here. It's not consistent throughout the entire track. Some of them are 3D, and then some of them are just completely flat, which in case are slippery. So you kind of need to tackle these apexes very differently than the most. Cody Nikolakowski managed to punches his ticket up into P8. Mateusz Pushkan again purple onto the 1st sector, and it's just unable as he slides his way into the pits. As Globesetter, meanwhile, he's going to start through another lap for himself. He's currently holding on to 12th, the highest of the Fox Esports. You're talking about them being potentially teams champion contenders, but they're quite suffering a bit. 12th and 18th respectively for Christina and Magnus respectively.
Yeah, I think this is the poorest we've seen the Norwegian pairing in qualifying so far this year. I wouldn't particularly say that they've been strong in qualifying, but they're not this week either. As we say, Alfie Denley getting that McManus Motorsports into P7, and has said that he has the potential to go into the top 10. And I mean, I'm glad to be proven right, as Ben Skinner has set a purple sector 1, so he looks to extend his lead from just 1/10 and secure that pole position with just under 2.5 minutes left in qualifying. I don't know, as more and more time passes by, the less and less likely it seems like anyone will catch Ben Skinner. I don't think Yongsha will be able to do it, or Chawinski. Courage somehow has not been able to get closer than 2/10 to Ben Skinner, although I definitely believe that he can. And the same goes for Mateusz Pishan. we've seen how many times Pishan has stringed together a purple Sector 1 and then has suffered massively through Sector 2. If he can string together I'm at a loss for words.
It's okay. Oh my
Philip
goodness.
Shawinski leaves me at a loss for words as well.
Oh my goodness me, is it the chance that Szybicki's going to get his second pole position this season? He's just got one corner left to go. Ben Skinner couldn't really quite bridge the gap enough, and as a result, he will still remain with the 157.29 as the aim, the target for Szybicki to beat. Gonna use the DRS now. Is it gonna be enough for the Polish driver to clinch it at the very last? But no, he did it! He did it! He went too wide, I think, through the hairpin, and that cost him incredibly dearly. Just about 60 seconds left to go, though. Szybicki still has got one last chance. Everyone's got one last chance, and he's pulled it out from the exit from the second turn, and that will put an end to Szybicki's chance of getting pole position here. Oh, goodness me, that is such a devastating situation there. Jonas Karela on for his last lap. Everyone is going to be on their last laps now. 40 seconds left on the clock now. Is Ben Skinner going to hold on to his pole position, do you think?
I think he might, you know. The only person I see out on track who I think can challenge him is Mateusz Peshan, as Jonas Karela sets a yellow Sector 1, 1/10 off of his personal best. I don't think that he'll be able to contend absolutely for pole position or for the top 3, as Ben Skinner also went yellow in Sector 1, but he was only 500ths off. But he's purple in Sector 2, so he could be on for an improvement here depending on this final sector. Will he be able to nail it though? I mean, we'll see right now. He's gone through the final turn. He's going on the front straight. DRS is open. Will he be able to improve on his lap time? No, he's yellow in Sector 3 as well, 300 slower. Mateusz Peshan is still out on track. He's had another purple Sector 1 and a purple Sector 2, so he could be on for a pole position here. Never mind as he cuts the track.
I think that's too costly there for the Polish driver. The checker flag, as you say, does indeed drop. Skinner couldn't improve. 3,000s off. Push-candid youngster still out on track though, but our attention's still on Mateusz at the minute now. Gonna go over through to the final corner, and I think it's maybe for certain that Mateusz won't be able to improve at all, but a little bit unfortunate, but still good news for McMass though that they're that high up. Them and Denley, that's going to bring them very healthy points onto the board. Mateusz does improve, actually come for the very last minute, as he'll be up at the P2. Jonas Lepin goes through across the line. He'll still remain in P18, and Ben Skinner will take a pole position here as the championship leader. That will be the happiest out of this qualified session.
Ben Skinner also had first repeat pole position this year. I think he might be. I can't quite recall. I think he was on pole position for Melbourne, wasn't he?
I think he was as well. Yeah, so this is his second pole position this season for Skinner, and what a great way to achieve it by about a tenth up. Only Mateusz Pushkan managed to actually improve at least of the top 5 at the very last run, and good for McMahon's Motorsports as that's their best qualifying performance in their GPVWC career history, really, as in second place. Thijs Jongstra holds on to P3 for Moldova Drive. Filip Szybicki, unfortunately his last run saw himself into the wall, but it'd still be good enough for P4 for him. Kasper Kuritz in P5 as Orbit Motorsports holds to a P1 and P5. That's the best the team has performed thus far. Jonas Karela is in 6th. Alfie Denley holds on to McManus Motorsports as they are the second best performing team in the grid. Christian Glumsetter manages to get Fox Esports up into the top 10 for P8 with David De Vries. Very good under the radar for him for Female Sunnits racing in 9th. And David Yunt for Killer Racing. He completes over for the top 10. Through to the rest of the field, Dan Hayek in 11th follows through with Magnus Ockenhag in P12. Cody Lokowski struggling very deeply as he's in P13 for Mapes VO, and follows through behind him is Victor Bernat for Fractionera. Michel Luvnik rounds off for the point scoring position with James Workpipe as the last minute replacement for ST Racing. He's in 16th. Oxalagi for Killer Racing is in 17th, with Jonas Lepin, Hot Performance Engineering driver, is in 18th. Andre Kinalia, 19th, follows through with Craig Patterson rounded off for the top 20. Through P21, Justin van der Smissen follows through with newcomer Tina Kurz for Alka International 22nd. Amir Zeeuw for Hot Performance Engineers 23rd. Follows through with Rafael Urham for Camera 24th. Leila Petralia is in 25th with Chris Davis, as you said, a newcomer for GPVWC FS2. He's 26th for Camera Racing. Samuel Slavev is down in 27th with the Seoul Seoul Academy driver in Corning Kritsminski in 28th. Eric Bennett falls through on 29th, and Alex Day completes over for the top 30 as for Elk International. And we've got one more car left. It is Vicentievic in 31st. I think we did see a bit of crashes with Brenna Day and Vicentievic, so they didn't really quite represent a lap time, but they will still manage to make their way onto the grid since they have managed to complete a timed lap. So that's 31 cars over and done with, and we've got warm-up slowly coming up, and then we've got a very exciting race slowly brewing up underneath the radar, I think. But yeah, a great qualifying session, and Ben Skinner did very well, I must say.
He did very well indeed, but he wasn't completely unpressured. We saw Mateusz Piszczan, even with the quite liberal track limits that he unfortunately had to take on his final lap, he was still just ever so slightly above a 10th off of Ben Skinner. So he was pressured by Mateusz Piszczan. Vijs Jongstra was very close to the Englishman as well for most of qualifying. Filip Czerwinski was very, very close to a pole position as well with 2 purple sectors before some sort of mistake in the final sector. I don't believe that the line he took through the final hairpin was that costly for Filip Czerwinski. But again, he wasn't completely unchallenged, and I do think that it will remain the same in the race as well. I do see drivers like Czerwinski and Piszczan and Jongstra. I think even Carroll as well. Kuritz obviously is going to be in talks there as well. Dare I say that if they get lucky enough, Denley and Latkowski can also have a chance at a podium, if anything. Again, we got 2 races tonight, so obviously there's going to be interesting things going on in race 2 as well with the reverse grid pole. But focusing on race 1 first, as that's one of the Elks being very loose on the rear. I think it's worth mentioning as well, now that qualifying is over and warm-up is on, that there are some outstanding penalties following Bahrain in the form of a 12-place grid penalty for both Rafael Urham and Johannes Lepid, so the 2 Swedish drivers on the grid today, both having a 12-place grid penalty. Have nice, they're matching. Mihailo Vicentievic also has a 3-place grid penalty, and Leila Petralia has a back of the grid penalty. So this does mean that, if I've got everything right, it will be Petralia in last, and then in ascending order it will be Urham, Lepid, Vicentievic. I could have understood that a bit wrong, but I think this should be the order in which the last 4 cars are in.
Yeah, I think that might be it, but we'll have to wait to see until the grid, of course, forms, and as we said, all the penalties to apply, but I think you are right on a few of them. Talk of the, usual talk of the Jeddah Corniche circuit. My opinion, quite a difficult circuit, but I think it has its fans and has its haters, since it was like made when 2021, right? 2020? No, 21, right? It was 21, because it only made the appearance during the F1 title fight, and the website has a lot to be desired, to be honest with you. I mean, why would they have their race laps as 50 plus 1? That doesn't make any sense to me. Why are they bragging about they have 2,000 LED lights? Why?
I don't know, they've got money for them. That's the only excuse I can think of.
Well, one of the things, 3DRS. Have you seen this website? This website has a lot to be desired. It's probably the weakest website I've ever seen in my entire life.
If I speak big trouble. But anyways, enough about websites, enough about LED lights around Jeddah. I think I've seen quite a lot of new faces for today's race, and I'd appreciate if we take a look at some of them if we can. If we can get this screen off and have the... There we go. No, that's the calendar, Remco, please. Can we have the... Can we just have the standings graphics that we usually do in the races? Thank you. That's not the driver standings, just like...
I think he's asking for a timing tower. He's asking for a timing tower graphic.
Yes.
Lorenzo doesn't know proper broadcast terminology
Well,
in it.
apologies for not being born in England and not having English as my mother tongue.
Remco is Dutch. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so we're both confused then.
Okay.
Why didn't you jump in earlier to help us? Anyways.
Because I like seeing you struggle and suffer.
Wow. Can we fire this guy?
Sure, of course. Anyways. Go and talk about your new names. New names, go ahead.
Yeah, one we mentioned in qualifying because of his fairly strong performances, both in qualifying obviously, and in the Academy race last Monday, is Mitchell leaving in the McKenna Racing car, replacing Juho Soppinen, who I'm not sure why he's missing, but did have obviously fairly underwhelming first 2 rounds. If this is only a one-off for Mitchell leaving, I would be hoping to see Juho Soppinen coming back stronger in 2 weeks' time in Sepang. But if this is a more permanent solution for McKenna Racing, they seem to have struck gold in Mitchell leaving, as he seems to be quite good, at least on this track. We've seen Mateusz Piszczan obviously, and we've talked about him. He said, I mean, the second fastest time in qualifying, he is very clearly on fire, and any talent that he might have potentially lost in the massive gap since his last GPVWC event has not disappeared, and I don't think anyone would expect that to happen, because we've seen how good Mateusz Piszczan is on his day, and I think this might be one of those days. We mentioned McManus Motorsports with Mateusz Piszczan, and I mentioned that as well, that Mateusz Piszczan is their 5th separate driver in this season. Another team in that same position has one of their cars right behind them there, in Chimera Racing Team, their 5th different driver this season. In Chris Davis, obviously I mentioned the Team Iris Endurance driver, has done plenty of sim racing events all across endurance events, iRacing, R-Factor 2, Assetto Corsa, ACC, you name it. He's probably been there if it's endurance, but he seems to have hopped in for Chimera Racing Team today in an open wheeler, which he's told me before he's not quite fond of those cars, but nevertheless nice to see a driver of his caliber on the Formula Sprint 2 grid. Alex Day, another one. Alk International actually having a completely different lineup for this race. The Czech driver Alex Day. We can hear Amir being very excited about that, as I take a sip of water because I'm not being hydrated enough today. Anyways, Alex Day, the Czech driver, obviously was supposed to start the season in Formula Sprint 1 with Hugh Performance, but was then dropped fairly last minute and is now still searching for a seat, it seems. Did do Melbourne for McManus Motorsports and scored a double DNF, but despite the performance he had in qualifying, he was called up very last minute. I think it was a couple of hours before practice began.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, well, you would know more, but let's pretend that you don't.
I don't. I'm just hearing from the paddock that it was very last minute, and honestly, I think that team owner is really. It's just that team owner seems really incompetent in my honest opinion. I think he should just be sacked and barred from owning teams ever again.
I see.
But
Interesting opinion.
Yeah, Alex Day,
Oh.
and a new driver as well. Oh goodness me, what a save! Senior Curtis as well joins alongside Day. Also, a bit of a last minute replacement. She's previously had a couple of one-off appearances last season, including a highlight of hers being a P2 last season. So yeah, she did also say, I think similar to Davies has said, not fond of these cars. So we'll see how that develops for both Davies and Curtis respectively in their own quests for their FS2 first appearances this year. Of course, I think is that it? Oh no, ST Racing, James Rokai comes over last minute for Hansko Mebus as well. He was initially tied to the GPVWC Academy seat, but got called up to the last minute from the folks at ST Racing, and Menno Klont speaks very highly of him, given his pace performances in the Academy. He's eyeing that ST Racing could potentially clinch their first points this season, which in that case they're I think the only team now yet to have scored points since Layla scored points last time round. So if the British driver can do that, then that'll be very, very good news for the English outfit, as no one really wants to win the wooden spoon, do they?
No, absolutely not. But I do have to correct you in the fact that James Rockwhite did in fact compete 2 weeks ago in Bahrain for the GP Academy team. So he's not a completely fresh face, obviously. First time with a team that's not the Academy team, but he has done.
Fresh.
He's less fresh. Let's say.
Unfresh.
What's a good analogy that doesn't sound weird? I'm trying to think of something.
Refurbished. He's a refurbished driver.
Sure, let's put it that way.
Sorry. This is just absolutely cartoonically a weird way to kind of end the warm-up session, but I think that's all of the new faces at least. I think we can expect some good things from Mogwai though. So, but all that in mind, Stravinsky holding on to his momentum that he held in for qualifying. It's a bit of what could have been if it wasn't for that turn 2 incident, but hopes are high for Stravinsky. Pushkan, meanwhile, doing pretty well in second place as well. Can McManus not only clinch their first podium, but could they get their first win under Matej though? Do you think?
I think it's very possible, but again, as I mentioned in qualifying, well, I didn't mention it in qualifying, but qualifying is going to be very important here, because again, the track temperatures are going to be dropping the further on we go, which means even with the low opportunities to warm the tires properly, the further on we go, as someone goes off, the less they'll be able to warm their tires properly. So again, I think it'll be interesting to see. I think Pushkan definitely can contend for the win, but it's 15 laps in race 1 to see whether he can or can't, as he shows off a bit there. He's just styling on people like for no reason in warm-up. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how race 1 goes, and race 2 as well. Not just for Pushkan, but for everyone in general. And as one presenting, one little fact I'd like to share that I personally find a bit interesting is that now with Tina Curtis in that Elk International seat, both of the Irish teams this year in McKenna and Elk have had an Irish driver, Tina Curtis at Elk International and Nova McKenna at McKenna Racing.
Well done.
I hope that wasn't picked up on stream. I hope that the air horn signboard effect wasn't picked up on stream.
Okay, with that fun fact out of the way, we're slowly getting ready for race 1 of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We've got 15 laps exciting here as we await for the fastest street circuit in the world. How will these drivers navigate? We'll see as they prepare to get on the grid. And the grid is now beginning to fill itself up, and we await for the 31 cars to get ahead. Any predictions before we look over through the starting grid one last time?
Unfortunately, plenty of DNFs. Again, as I said, tire temperatures, track temperatures are going to be very low. And I think quite a lot of drivers, especially towards the back, the less experienced ones, the less, objectively speaking, talented ones, are going to be caught out by this fact. So, yeah, I think we'll be seeing some good battles up front, but unfortunately some questionable things towards the back.
31 cars ready to line up as they navigate through the 27 corners, one of the longest actually in the GPVWC calendar. We have a look over through the starting grid. Oates Motorsports will be very happy as Ben Skinner clinches his second pole position, this time in Formula Sprint 2 as he holds on to the lead. McManus holds on to a front row their first time ever. Titch Youngster for Moldova drivers P3. Philip Savinski from McKenna Racing is down over in fourth. For over to row 3, Casper Kurtz for Oates Motorsports is in 5th, falls through Jonas Corral for Priority 1 is in 6th. Alfie Denley for McManus is down in 7th, falls through Christian Glumsetter, he is in 8th. David De Vries, the highest of the VMS Sunets Racing, is in 9th, with David Yunt completes over for the 10 for Killer Racing. Dan Hayek is in 11th, follows through with Magnus Okenag for Fox Esports, he completes for row 6. Cody Nikolakowski is in 13th, follows with Victor Burnett, the Spaniards in row 7. Mitcha Luvnik is in 15th, follows through with James Rukwai, could get ST Racing's first points as he's in 16th. Mark Salagi is in 17th with Andrei Pinalia in 18th. Craig Patterson is down over in 19th for Priority 1, follows through with Justin van der Smissen, he is in P20. Tina Curtis is the highest of the Elk Internationals as she's in 21st, falls through Hamir Azik for Hot Performance in 22nd. Chris Davis, the new debut, is in 23rd with Samuel Slevev in 24th. Corinne Kritsmisky for the highest of the academies in 25th, falls through with Eric Brenner for Hunter Birch Simulations in 26th. Alex Day for Elk Internationals 27th with Jonas Leppe in 28th. With Mihailo Vicentievic is in for 29th for ST Racing, with Rafael Urham for Camera Racing 30th, and Leila Petralia is in P31 for Hunter Birch Simulation. And that rounds off for the 31 cars onto the grid. Again, just missing one driver on, and that will be the Academy team. As we've aforementioned before, real quiet last minute call up to ST Racing, but other than that, got a full on stacked grid here today, at least for all of the user teams. We've got the timer tower ready as everyone is. You can just see everyone is utilizing as much as they possibly can to warm up the tires. And in fact, it's going to be quite a long way before everyone starts to form. So that's going to be a bit of a disadvantage to Ben Skinner and company, as those tire temperatures are going to cool right down underneath the stars here in Saudi Arabia. 15 laps ready to go for the feature race for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix for Formula Sprint 2. The 5 lights are on. They're off and we're underway. A good start there by Ben Skinner to fend off actually Pishkan and Youngstar are going to be single up, but Dice Youngster almost gonna have a look through it down over to turn 1, won't be able to do so. And look at that, a bit of a tank slapper there from Youngster as he's gonna be under pressure there from Casper Kurtz. Gonna go side by side right down onto the exit of turn 2. Turn 3 gonna come up between these two, still gonna be going side by side. Youngster over the inside line, but he goes a little bit wide, a bit too much there. Is that gonna allow for Kurtz to take advantage? He's certainly trying his best, still free side by side for the sector 1, and Kurtz manages to navigate his way on through, and Orbit Motorsports holds on to 1-3. Tice Youngster is dripping though like a rock from P3 all the way down to P5, and it's going to be even more if Jonas is going to say anything to say about it. Down over through the first hairpin of the circuit upcoming. Youngster doing his absolute best to defend, and he does manage to do so, and that will relieve a little bit of pressure out from the Dutchman's hands. Ben Skinner still leads, Mateus second, Casper P3. Orbit has a very good start.
Orbit has a massive start. Curtis has gone up, I think, was it 2 or 3 positions already, but I think the biggest loser quite clearly, as far as Youngster, we see yellow flags in sector 2, so there might be even more losers towards the back, as we see Victor Bernat again. Victor Bernat has been so unlucky this season. He's fallen 13 positions on this first lap. He's down in 27th. I think it's worth pointing out now that we've seen that Samuel Slav has also dropped 7 positions. Kordian Krzyminski dropped 6 positions. So something has happened further in the back. Yellow flags in sector 3 as well. Victor Bernard has gained 2 positions, so it's, again, something is happening towards the back that we're not being able to see quite
Pretty
well.
wide, holy moly.
Pretty wide into the final turn. Dan Hayek gains those 2 positions on David de Vrij and David Jund, so he's overtaken both Davids immediately, and he's gone up into P9. They don't have DRS quite yet, but they do have slipstream, and quite strong slipstream at that as well. He's defending from David de Vrij. Magnus Hockenhaug has now joined the party as well. He's got past David Jund, and Kodiniko Latkovsky is there as well in 13th. He didn't qualify as well as people would have thought, and he's going to look to climb his way back up.
Yeah, absolutely incredible start. We've seen Youngstra and Corella kind of battling for positions as well. I think I saw, there we go, Lepet and Brenner are into the pits. There we're in for P29 to 30. Erham has retired. That's our first retirement this race. And still only lap 2 out of 15, so that's going to be, is it going to be the first of many? We have to wait and find out. Attention over from Corella though, as he's just losing out a bit, but Lufnik down into the inside of Rockquay. Rockquay's managed to get the ST Racing into a point scoring position, and all he needs to do is just fend it off, and that's going to be ST Racing's first. But Misha makes his way through, and a very good overtake there from the McKenna Racing I don't know if one-off or main driver, but if it is going to be like that, what a way to make your claim up in the P14, and now going to be challenging Lakoski for P13, and it's going to be determined if the North Macedonian Australian driver can navigate his way through the field very quickly, or he could find himself under pressure from Micha. You can just almost see he was almost looking for a move down there, but couldn't be quite close enough, and just has to stay from behind a little bit for the time being. But still, the attention on to Misha though against Cody. They're all going to use for the DRS available. Again, the 7th temps is the one to look for. 3 wide coming up for a head through to the final turn into turn 27. Lakoski does defend and maybe could capitalize on something on the exit here. Almost nearly it makes a collision and just filters back into a single file line, but Misha going to look for his best to take advantage of it. Is he able to do so? I don't think it's going to be quite close enough. Everyone's just staying from behind, utilizing the slipstream, and now there you go, spreading out, trying to utilize an overtake as they possibly can. And 3 wide again down for the back between Rockquay, Patterson and Salagi, and they're going to be switching positions a bit. Rockquay still manages to be ahead of P15. Salagi down 16. The brief yellow flag somewhere, but it all seems to be very clean racing, I must say, from the midfield.
Yeah, I've not expected the opening of the race to be so quiet. Well, it wasn't that quiet on lap 1, but ever since there's been next to no incidents, as we've seen only 1 DNF so far in the Swede over at Chimera and Rafael Erham. But overall, it seems there's not been many incidents. Only 2 drivers had to pit, and Johannes Lepet and Erik Brenner. But yeah, so far so good, considering some of the things we've seen, for example, in Bahrain 2 weeks back. But
what an overtake. I'm sorry, that was a fantastic overtake of Mark around the outside of Rockquay, and manages to just make it sick. I think James just sort of lost it on the inside, a bit too eager on the frontal to try and respond, and that took all the advantage. So we've got DNFs to look out for. So this is Raphael. So this is what we're going to see when this happened to him. And this is one of the drivers that was Lepet. Lepet was the one that's ever front wing. Oh my goodness me, that is an absolute contact there. And I think that was a contact with Brenner, I think, coming through behind. I'm not quite sure.
No, that was
Fresh. Oh, I see. So that might be Bernard, I think. Let's see, on board with him. I think I was not expecting to maybe break that early, and unfortunately, it's just very, very unfortunate there to have seen that. But yeah, I thought my apologies for that. So it was one of the friction errors. That is such a hefty impact. My goodness me, that is a spectacular crash, and unfortunately claims the victim of Erham in the process.
What happened beforehand to Johannes Lepet and Erik Brenner, though, is what I'm wondering. And what happened to Victor Bernard for him to be so far down? And Samuel Slavo as well, because he was all the way down as well. So I want to see what happened here. This is Victor Bernard.
This is him, like... Yeah, so Lakoski's a bit ahead. This is him against Misha, and the very lucky with the complete runoff area that he managed to do rejoin, and there you go. That's sort of the crowd that he has joined back in. Samuel Slatvev also, I think, suffered from a spin, I believe. So this is it for the replay. And he got tagged from behind from one of the Elks, I think it was.
And it wasn't. Around as well.
that was Krzyminski as well. I want to see it like from the from behind of Slavev to see who kind of hit him because, oh goodness me, don't go side by side like that. So let's see. Yeah, that is one of the Elks, I think.
Might have been Alex Day. Oh, and
oh, no.
so that's what Slepit lost his front wing as well.
Yeah, so a lot of carnage already in the first few laps. I think we'll see as the race goes on. So yeah, just very interesting. There's Salagi and Lukowski switching positions, but Ben Skinner still holds on to the lead, 6/10 ahead from Pishkan further down behind. That is Jonas challenging Youngstra round for the outside, come through to the final corner, but Youngstra I think will have the DRS. Look at that gap though, 3.5 seconds between Jonas and Kurtz. So these top three are effectively running away with it, and I think it's almost completely out of the podium battle that Jonas and Youngstra and Glamsetter find themselves on, and it's going to be a little bit messy coming up for the first turn as Jonas Corella and Glamsetter both tag on the exit, and they both managed to, well, come off a little bit rather unscathed, but clearly nerved by that incident, them both, and that has allowed for Youngsters to slightly pull away. Oh, Lovnik dropped, I think.
Not only leaving, I've seen Filip Chewinski down in 30th, so something has happened again in Sector 3. We saw yellow flags for quite a long time while this battle was going on. I think we saw Andrei Kinaya, DNF, Justin van der Smissen, Kordan Krzyminski, Samuel Slavev all in the pit lane. I think Johannes Slepit is out of the race as well.
Oh,
Victor Bernard is out of the race as well. That's a double DNF for Frechenera.
Yeah, that's a lot of people that's happening. So, Justin van der Smissen, I think, let's see here. Oh dear. Oh my goodness me. Oh, and that was a tag from Tina Curtis, I believe. And that's why she kind of dropped places in the process. As a result of that, Craig Patterson was on board. There's so much incidents happening over.
Has gained so much from it.
Yeah, he's just. He did kind of in the long process because of the contact that happened behind. Yeah. Oh dear.
There's many things to look at here, and I'm not quite sure whether we'll have enough time to look at everything for the duration of the race, and even after the race. But
the problem is, like, if you're in the middle of the track, like, I know you're meant to hold your, oh goodness me, you're meant to like hold your brakes, but Andrea is like is literally like in the middle of the track, so he is going to be effectively stuck there, and oh goodness me, does his best. Oh dear, you can't really rely visually on that for a rejoin because I think from where he was blind. But yeah, that's not a very good read.
I think it's worth pointing out, sorry to cut you off, Amir, that
it's okay.
That entire incident did stem from a very ambitious move into a space that barely existed from Kinaya on, I think that was the SD Racing of James Rockwell. So yeah, again, I think that solely falls on Andrea Kinaya, both the rejoin and the initial contact that started the entire car park that was in that section of the track. But again, we're merely commentators. The disciplinary committee exists for a reason.
Evidently, continue on through his very good momentum in Bahrain. Could be eyed for maybe a top 5 finish, and well, this is going to be extremely good for McManus Motorsports. I think the analysis initially didn't really quite hold McManus favorably amongst the other new outfits, but they're certainly giving them a run for their money, wouldn't you say? Because they've done so well as the Thai driver makes his way through past Jonas up into P6. It's a fantastic standout drive from Danley in Bahrain, and he's kind of replicating that in Bahrain this time round, as he's now going to go and try and challenge Glomsetter and Youngstra for their respective positions, and a very good showing, I must say, from Alfie.
Absolutely, and I think Alfie Danley, as he's still under attack by Jonas Karola, not in here in the final turn though, but he will be under attack again on the main straight as he does clip the wall quite a bit. But Alfie Danley, I think he was quite overlooked coming into this season because of his performances last year. But I think there was potential in him back then, as there still is in him right now, as he's had some amazing performances so far this season. Drops back down for the time being into P7, as Eunice Carroll overtakes him with no problems of any kind. But I do think that's going to be a battle to keep an eye on for the rest of the race between Carroll and Denley for that P6. If they can reel Glomsetter in, even more tasty, you could say so.
Did we see, like, Savinsky's dropped down the order of rise? Did we see what happened to him? I can't remember.
He might have been involved in the incident that Kinaya and Rockway, well, quote-unquote, started up. But he's a lap down, according to Ziminski's 2 laps down. I think he was involved in what happened in Sector 3 there. But we didn't see him, so we can't be really sure unless we go and check again. Which
I just
we're
want to be
doing.
Yeah, I just really want to be sure, because I was you kind of need to be sure of these things. He was running at P4 at one point, so that's why it didn't make sense for him to be. It's a disconnect. He suffered from a disconnecting issue, and that's why what happened to, and that's why the gap was so big as well. Because I swear I thought there was someone between like Curtis and Youngstrip, so that explains it. So super unfortunate for Philip. He's been affected. His internet's kind of robbed him of the P5 there, and unfortunately now Luvnik is now the only point scoring position though. But attention over for Lakoski though, who's the sole Mapesville in a point scoring position. Going to try to muscle his way past David De Vries. This is going to be for P11, as he's going to try and look his way past through the, I was going to say the Haas-inspired livery. Does able to do so. Skinner, Pishkan on a battle for P1. Look at this intense battle. Still going to be on side by side as they navigate over to the first sector. Mateus gives him a little bit of a squeeze on the entry. And Mateus, for the first time ever at McManus Motorsports and him, leads a Grand Prix in the Formula Sprint 2.
Oh, Skinner's already looked like he lost so much time on Mateusz Pishkan there. It could just be dirty air. But having said that, Kasper Kuris doesn't look like he lost time on Ben Skinner through that section because of dirty air. I think Ben Skinner might be suffering fairly early on here. It's only about the halfway point of the race. And look at the gap between himself and Pishkan. It's 4/10ths. Even with the slipstream, he's not gaining that much. And I think Kuris, he might want to get past Ben Skinner as he's very unsteady through there. I think he might want to get past Ben Skinner as soon as possible and challenge Pishkan for the race lead himself.
Oh, look at this, Skinner looking his way on through. He's so behind him with the DRS. And that's the thing, Mateusz doesn't have the DRS as well, so has to kind of defend with all the track that he can give. And Skinner does his absolute best, throws the car round through that complex. And on exit now, so Curtis and Skinner surely have to work together to find a way to kind of take the lead away from Mateusz. It's similar to what Lakoski and Kasper and Ben had previously. Around 3 wide, coming around through to the final corner around. Who will be emerged victorious out? Mateusz still holds on through, but a bit of a switchback though between himself and Kasper means that Kasper has got a bit of a breathing opportunity, because he'll have to slipstream as well. And look at this, side by side between the two orbits, and Mateusz does absolutely all he can to defend. Is it going to be interesting to see who will come up for a turn 1? Mateusz finds himself in the middle though, and look at this, Kasper swings his way round through the outside but couldn't quite get in contact between the two orbits, and still Mateusz holds leads, but Kasper and Ben have exchanged positions.
They have indeed. I think if things go the way I've seen them in my eyes, I think Kuris and Pishkan are now going to drive off and leave Skinner in a bit of a no man's land situation in P3, where he's not going to be quite there to catch them on slipstream and DRS, but he's definitely not going to be challenged by Youngster in P4 as he goes off wide by quite a big margin there. And I mean, look at the gaps already between the 3 of them. There's 5/10ths between Pishkan and Kuris, and it was 4, but now 3 between Kuris and Skinner, as that's one of the VMS Tonelli's cars. I think that might have been Justin van der Smissen. And yeah, again, we've seen this so many times this season already. I don't understand why he's still on track without a wheel. I don't think it's worth trying to get it to the pit lane to get it fixed if you've got your brake disc still on. You're putting yourself and other drivers in danger. And I think the wiser decision for Justin van der Smissen here would be to just call it quits and try and gain the positions you've lost in race 1 and race 2, because this to me is just nonsensical.
He's out of the racing line, so he's not really causing a bother much over. Alex Day, meanwhile, is having a charge and a half. He's up into P13. Oh, goodness me, a hit in the wall means that he will lose out on that position, and Szilagyi will make his way on past. And the Hungarian reclaims through P13 at the moment. Yellow flag again into the third sector, so not quite sure where that is, but Elk International and the Killer Racing drivers still going to go in side by side, pushing up through to the final corner. Casper Kurtz, meanwhile, with the DRS down into the inside of turn 1, and he will take the lead for the first time ever in the Jeddah Corniche circuit. A brilliant move down to the inside, and a very clean move of that, and effective.
Yeah, absolutely, because Casper Kurtz is one of those drivers where he knows what to do and where to do and how to do it. He's had his moments before where he get a bit too hot-headed and do things that he'd later regret, but I don't think there's any reason for him to be doing that this year. And I think this year a lot of people have been touting Ben Skinner and Cody Nikolutkovsky as the biggest championship contenders in the Drivers' Championship, but I think Casper Kurtz massively overlooked in that second orbit car and showing here today why he shouldn't have been.
Yep, I think so as well. And this could be a very important race for Casper to stake his claim as a championship contender to Ben Skinner, because Ben Skinner has been, I wouldn't say I've been running away with it, but he's always held that momentum high that he had from the double podium in Australia. And if Casper can convert this race win again, because he's outscored his teammate twice the last 2 races, so this is going to well and truly put maybe shift the team's dynamics to for both of them to duel, but we'll see how Mateusz or Ben Skinner can respond, because they're not out of the picture just yet. And even though Casper is doing all he possibly can to bridge that gap a bit more weight between himself and the Polish and British drivers, that DRS and slipstream is just way too advantageous here in FS2.
Then we saw Ben Skinner there slap the wall ever so slightly, so I think that as well is going to be a massive disadvantage for him to try and catch Pishan and Kurtz, as Pishan has scored Kurtz and he's passed him. And we saw Ben Skinner thinking of doing something into turn 1, but thinking better of it. There's still 5 laps to go, we're only on lap 11 of 15, and going back a further bit, Magnus Hockenhaug and Dan Hayek are giving us a nice little battle for P8 as well, Amir.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to allow for Cody Nikolutkovsky to kind of catch up a little bit, as it's still going to go side by side into the first sector, and Hayek throws himself down to the inside line and manages to fend off Magnus very, very well. Fantastic there from Dan to hold on to P8 for just a moment, and Magnus will need to figure out a new way to try and overtake him. Still got a bit of time. He's got about 4 laps left to do that. In fact, everyone's got a bit of time to still clinch some positions through to the very last minute, so we'll see how that will happen. A bit of a replay to see what happened. This is going to be interesting. This is between Day and Szilagyi in the entry down to turn 1, and oh goodness me, a little bit of a tank switch, and and Day got I think the door has been shuttered in, and no track really for Day to go, and fortunately, he's now back into the position with Misha. I think they are both still fighting. Yeah, Misha did manage to overtake him. And there they are, and he's looking as he's going to get the position back as they go. Still going to go side by side. It's a battle between the 2 Irish teams. All of Ireland rejoice, and he does make the move up in here. Casper and Ben exchange positions, and they're going to go battling out again. Both will have the DRS, but it's going to be determined on who will have the slipstream though. And oh my goodness me! Oh my goodness me! That went ugly as they were both battling for Mateusz's slipstream, and Ben couldn't really do much, and Casper tries to look down for the inside. That could have been ugly. That really could have been ugly.
This is poor teamwork from the Orbit drivers here. I mean, Skinner, he surely could have felt that Casper Kurtz had his wheel up alongside his, and yet he still kept going, expecting Kurtz to pull out when he was axle to axle from what it looked like there, meaning that he was entitled to space on that straight. And I think if that was between drivers of opposing teams, it would definitely be a topic for the disciplinary committee to discuss after this event. But never mind that, let's look a bit further back. As good Nikola Latkovsky mentioned, he might catch up to Hockenheim and Dan Hayek, and he has indeed, but will he have enough time to get past both of them? And if he does, will he have enough time to get to Denley? I don't think he will, but I think there's a strong chance he gets past both Hayek and Hockenheim here.
I think so as well. The big advantage that Latkovsky has that Hockenheim and Hayek are both don't is that since they were both battling and going side by side, Latkovsky's tires I think seems a little bit more better than that of the Czechs and the Norwegians ones, but DRS advantage for Hockenheim and for Latkovsky is they're going to go side by side. That was Fox Esports going a little bit sideways, a little bit too much, but Latkovsky's going to look his way round from the outside of Hockenheim. They will both have the DRS though, but Hockenheim will have the slipstream, so it's going to be advantage for Fox Esports as they're going to look over down through to the hairpin through to the final corner. Ben Skinner makes the overtake against Fishkan for the lead of the race with couple of laps left to go on for the Englishman's hands. Could he do enough to fend off though? As here we go, Latkovsky and Hockenheim going to go side by side in a battle. Who's going to come on top? Hockenheim just has the slipstream though, but is it going to be enough for it? Just lost his wheel, and that will be it for the Uber Motorsports driver. So unfortunate for the Estonian. He retires.
What's happened to Kasper Kursdal? Was there any contact, or was it just a driver error there? Because it looks to be a driver error, because look at the gap between himself and the pairing of Piszczan and Skinner, and I think that was one of the walls that was brought up in the feedback channel following the Academy race at Jeddah. That wall was brought up. If you hit it at a certain angle, it just stops you dead in its tracks, and it's game over if you do that, and Kasper Kursdal seems to have done it. And I mean, normally there'd just be suspension damage, but unfortunately for Kasper Kursdal, that wall is not normal in relation to the other ones.
Mateus goes wide, and well, this is bad news for Ben Skinner because he doesn't have his teammate to facilitate with helping him fend off against Piszczan. So now it's just going to be between Ben and Mateus for the lead of the race now, come through to the very last moment. And with Christian Glomsetter being 5 seconds away, there's no one that's going to really heavily challenge between these two. And this is fantastic for Mateus because again, no other motorsport Orbit Motorsport driver to worry about. So that means he can just focus solely on Ben Skinner now.
Indeed, and we've seen how badly Kursdal and Skinner communicated between one another early on in the race. So even to say that Skinner doesn't have Kursdal anymore to rely on him to have an easier time defending, I think Piszczan now has an even better opportunity to get past Skinner, now that Skinner has no teammate to cover for him and no teammate to battle with. It's only going to be between Piszczan and Skinner, as Alex Day and Mika Luvink, they're still continuing that battle between the Irish teams, and we saw Nikola Latkovsky get past Magnus Hockenhaug, but the gap to Dan Hayek is slowly starting to increase. I don't think he might be able to get past Dan Hayek, let alone Alfie Denley. That's out of the equation, obviously, but I think Dan Hayek might be off the table as well.
We'll have to see as the slowly goes over. Alex Day looking down and looks over through to the very last minute onto the inside of Misha. I think that might have caught Misha a little bit off guard, and it surely has done so. Side by side, right onto the exit. Still going to go wheel to wheel. A little bit of banging going ahead, but the McKenna Racing will have the inside line for that corner, and that will be all it will be for Luvnik, as he'll hold on to P13 a bit for the moment as Day bangs into the wall. And that might call it for quits for him. Mateus though and Ben Skinner, here we go. Side by side between these two. Mateus through to the inside, through to the final corner. He's waiting. He's went onto the brakes a little bit early. I think, was that to get the DRS detection zone? I'm not quite sure. No, it is there. So Ben Skinner will have it this time round. And right down to the outside line he's going to use. Going to go down right down to the very final lap here between Orbit Motorsports and McManus Motorsports. And Ben Skinner with the DRS. Mateus has to stay behind and use the slipstream. Is he going to look for it down to turn 1? He's not close enough. Ben Skinner goes a little bit sideways, but does recover. Oh, and a poor exit for turn 2 means that they both collide. And Ben and Mateus still have their cars intact on the exit of turn 2.
They do. That poor race out of turn 1 planted Ben Skinner perfectly to defend into turn 2 from Mateusz Pishan. If he was a bit more loose and went wide out of turn 2 as well, Pishan will sail right past by into P1, potentially unchallenged, but now, having defended that unintentionally completely, Ben Skinner has set us up for a very nice fight on this final lap for P1 here. Mateusz Pishan is still within DRS, but I don't think he's close enough for the slipstream to work as well with that DRS. There's still 2 more DRS zones to go, one after this chicane, so to say, the right-left flick, and he's gonna have DRS obviously, but he's 4/10 back. I don't think that he's gonna be close enough for the slipstream to work again.
No, I don't think so. He's got the second and final sectors left to go, but he's sure going to give it his damnedest and his best. With the slipstream, is it going to be enough? He's not going to utilize an overtake for this section, but he's got 1 more DRS and maybe a half if he's still behind out for the last corner. But we'll see what the Polish driver can cook up through to the 1. Here he goes. Here's the last DRS he has used for this track now, his first full one, in fact. And he'll go round for the outside, up to Ben Skinner, down for to the last corner. Both make a little bit of contact though. Ben Skinner keeps it wide. Mateus is trying his best to keep it on 4th. Ben Skinner does all he can to defend. A little bit of weaving. The DRS Mateus will have, but it will not be enough. Ben Skinner goes for across the line, and he'll take his 3rd race win in the Formula Sprint 2 campaign.
Wow, I mean, we're seeing further back as well, there's still battling going on for the points. David Junt and David de Vries, the 2 Davids are still fighting, and there's going to be a drag race to the finish here between the Swiss and the Dutch driver, and I think David Junt might be able to edge David de Vries here, and he does ever so slightly, and that's Korenko Ziminski in the background after them. Max Silagi finishes in P12, so a good outing for Aquila Racing as well, and I think the battle between Löving and Day has also ended. And I think all the point scorers have crossed the line already, so there's not much left to see other than all the drivers who are yet to cross the line.
I mean, Ben Skinner, once again, in a battle between, well, in a 3-car battle for the lead, he emerges victorious once again in a Middle Eastern race once again, and all the hats off and congrats to him, honestly, for fending off against both Casper and Mateus so not effortlessly, but vigorously, I think, and it has been very, very fantastic for the Englishman as the championship leader. He will extend that lead even more after race 1. Mateus Pishan, very good for McMaster Motorsports. That it will allow for the Scottish outfit to appear on the podium for the first time ever in their history, with Christian Glumsetter, again, another podium added to his collection, and for Fox Esports. Thijs Jongstra couldn't quite do it, but he'll still be pretty happy with 4th. Similar to Jonas Corella in 5th. Alfie Denley, again, another good performance from the Thai driver. That equals his best performance from race 2 in Bahrain, so it's his best race 1 performance for him. Cody Nikola-Koski for Mates Zeeuw. Very good, actually, from the way he climbed up from P13 to P7. Dan Hayek also for Emerald Overdrive in 8th. Magnus Okadai for Fox Esports is in 9th. And David Junt, P10 in qualifying, P10 in the race. Outside through the top 10, David de Vries for Female Sun Edits is 11th, with beats Mark Salagi in 12th. Mitchell Luvnig is unfortunately the only sole point scorer for McKenna Racing. Alex Day managed to get his first points in his FS2. FS2 this season for his end, and Craig Patterson rounds off through to the point scoring position, beats Leila Petralia as she finishes 16th. Tina Curtis is in 17th, with James Wakwai in 18th. Chris Davies for Camera Racing is in 19th, with Amir Hazik for our performance is in P20. And then outside through to the P20s, we have Mihailo Vicentievich in 21st, Eric Brenner in 22nd, Samuel Sleva for 23rd, with Philip Savinsky having a disconnect, being 24th. Kordian Krasminski suffered for damage, does finish with 2 laps down, with the retirements being due to terminal damage, being Casper Kuritz, Justin van der Smissen, Victor Burnett, Jerry Canalia, and Raphael Urham. and one more driver, and that would be Jonas Leppen, I believe, who I think just left the server, which is why P29, P3, 1 are there. So unfortunately with that, that'll be it. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin. But yeah, that has been it for here in the, well, Jeddah Street Circuit for one race already down. And a very exciting and I want to say quite chaotic one really at that. It was a little bit of damage, but still we round up through race 2. We still have got more exciting racing coming ahead. 12 laps, the sprint race for the Jeddah Circuit will be upon us. We'll also bring you over to more updates as well, such as who will clinch pole position for the reverse grid race. But until then, we're going to take a very short break and we'll be back in a few.
Inside a place of... On the next section... Kelty seat, the coffee beanery, Tyrek.
Flat out. Oh no! Oh no! Who's round? It's Magnussen. Oh, it's going to be a touch moment. It's in the barrier. Oh, they spun. Oh, this is a carnage.
And Menocot's going to win.
It's a double pass. Could they take each other off? They don't. And Black slide. It's a victory for the Tuties.
They touch. They're now. Oh no!
Soriano's gone around and met the wall. Mitchell will go through. Does it go uphill into turn 4? Oh, around the outside. What a fabulous move.
Frelick will use all of his as well. Here he comes. He makes a move. They touch. They run wide. And Munio's going to get it. We're going 3 wide. Look at
Sing.
contact. Oh my goodness. The Tyne has lost a wheel.
Time's out.
The dramatic race that we were teeing up the entire time has come to an end.
And we're back. Fantastic waiting there. We had the 15 laps of the feature has been concluded, but we still have got the 12 laps of sprint left remaining. Remco de Zeeuw, again, still with the broadcasting side of things. He's done a fantastic job through the race, navigating through all the cars that we have just seen at our first outing on Jeddah. And unfortunately for his poor soul, he'll have to do it all over again in the sprint race. But my good fellow commentator, Lorenzo Eterovic-Funcic, will be joined alongside me once again, and he can happily reveal to us our reverse grid poll.
I can, and you mentioned before it got announced that miracles don't happen in Jeddah. And indeed they don't, because still no P11 after what did we say was last week, or not last week, last round. Let me find our good friend Alex Folk's message. Right, so this now makes 44 rounds since reverse grid poll was P11 in race 1. What the probability of that is, I don't know. I don't do mathematics, but I'm sure there's people watching who do. Anyways.
Alex?
Yes, I was going to say it. It's Alex Dave, who finished P14. Who's on
No,
reverse
I'm
grid
talking about
pole
folks,
position.
not... I was talking about folks, not Day.
Well, there's so many Alexes in the community, it's hard to tell who you're talking about. You've got you've got Folks, you've got Gonzalez Green, you've got Day, you've got...
Hey.
You've got way too many Alexes.
You know what I had the idea of? You know how we have the Race of Champions like every... Well, we used to have it every year.
Do you want the Race of Alexes?
I want the race of Alex's, and I will also want the race of Matatius as well. GPVWC administration, if you're hearing this, please get on it right now. I bloody beg for it to happen. I would even throw my hard. I'll even throw my
for race of Davids as well. You've got Junt and you got Junt and De Vrij only in Formula Sprint 2. Surely there's another David somewhere. Surely there's another David somewhere in the career ladder. If not this year, then before this year.
Fair enough.
David Fidok. There we go.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's 3 though. That's still not many.
Yeah, if you bother to dig it up, you'd probably be able to dig it up. Anyways.
I have benefits to dig up.
Exactly. Anyways, as I said...
Like this F2 race! Like this FS2 race.
I don't know what you were alluding to, but I wasn't alluding to anything. I was trying to segue.
I don't know. I don't know what the segue is, but actually, speaking of which, we can now look over through to the rest of the calendar and see what will be in store for us after this conclusion of round 4.
That's a good
very
segue.
Shortly. It is a very good segue. Thank you. I am medically media productionally trained for this. Sepang, our first new circuit, is going to host for the 5th round of the calendar, and then following through, we're back over to street circuits galore with Montreal in Circuit de Villeneuve, and then San Marino Grand Prix, which is sadly not in San Marino, it's actually in Italy. Imola is going to host through to the 7th round, and then following through with that, it will be marking way through the halfway point of the season. It is Silverstone that will hold through to the British Grand Prix, and then still remaining in the continent of Europe, we have got Spa-Francorchamps, then we've got the Hungaroring, then we have got Hockenheim for the German Grand Prix, then the Autodromo in di Nazionale Monza for the Italian Grand Prix, and then we travel over through to the United States in Texas for the Circuit of the Americas, hosting over through for September, then Marina Bay in Singapore, the Yas Marina for Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and it all comes down to a thrilling conclusion quite early as well. The Bahrain Grand Prix held over at Interlagos Circuit. That is going to be all of the 16 tracks we're going to tremble in anticipation. We've also got 2 breaks as well during the race as well, in between. I think it is Montreal to Imola, and another one between Hockenheim to Monza. But that's going to be the 16 races we've got going. We're still going to be staying over in round 4 in the Jeddah circuit. All the cars are going to be ready to slowly line up in the grid, as we've got 12 laps of a sprint race coming up very, 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 very soon. Goodness damn it!
excellent
I
warm-up.
thought I timed it perfectly. Goodness gracious! All right, unfortunately, we're still in here, which is big Alex, make Amir Oates proud. No, don't say that. Don't bloody say that.
Don't read it
Alex,
then.
if you hear this, Alex, if you're hearing this, I'm proud of you no matter where you finish. Okay, that's my bias over and done with. I will not be biased for the rest of this race. Elkins Nationals team owner is still a piece of shit because of.
Well, okay.
Okay. Anyways.
Well, no, we had this talk with Casper Kuris and Samuel Slater following their interviews in Bahrain. How are you going to do it? Yeah, that's a good question, Remco. What's going on?
We'll cut it in GPVWC post. Apologies to the administration as well. Please don't sack me. GPVWC is all I have. Without it,
Media trained. He said media trained. He said.
I was. I swear to God, I was. Or used to be. I think I am washed or I'm long gone. Lahoa said to me media training, so yeah, I know. Sue me, bloody sue me. Predictions, Lorenzo. Great prediction. We're heading over to the sprint race.
I think it's worth seeing the grid first before I make any predictions, so I think I'll wait for that.
Okay. Grid is ready to form as we prepare for our sprint race here for the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. Famous last words. Thank you very much, everyone. Apologies as well in advance for all the kerfuffle that we've had. But the lights are slowly starting to come out, and well, you said you'd rather do the predictions after you see the grid. So we await to see the grid as we shall. For 12 laps here, it's going to be pretty interesting to see because, again, an all-Irish team front row. Micha did very well in his appearance, and Alex Day also did similarly well upon his way up through the order. So I just saw the YouTube chat. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Alex, for doing that. But well, the formation lap is beginning underway. Alex Day is going to start us off as it's another Elk International Race 2 pole position. He holds on to P1. Amir Luvnik in second for McKenna Racing. Mark Salagi for Killer Racing is in third, with David DeVries for Science Racing is in fourth. For over to row 3, it is David Yunt for Killer Racing in fifth. Magnus Zuckenhag for Fox Esports is in sixth. Dan Hayek in seventh for Emerald Overdrive, and Cody Nikolakowski is in eighth for Mapes Leo. Through to row 5, Alfie Denley from McMahon's Motorsports follows with Jonas Corral for Priority 1 in P10. Tanis Youngstra for Emerald Overdrive is in 11th, with Christian Glumsetter in 12th. Matthias Pischan in 13th, and Ben Skinner, the race 1 winner, is in 14th. Craig Patterson is 15th, follows through with Leila Petralia for Hunter Birch in 16th. Tina Kurtz for Elk International is in 17th, with James Wakwai for ST Racing in 18th. Chris Davis for Camera Racing Team is in 19th, and Amir Zeeuw completes our through to the top 20 for High Performance Engineering. Mahalo Vicentevich for ST Racing is 21st, with Eric Brennan for Hunter Birch Simulation is 22nd. Samuel Slavic for Mapes was 23rd, and Philip Savinsky for McKenna Racing is in 24th. According to Krzyzewski, the Seoul Academy team driver is 25th, with Casper Kurtz. He will be in 26th. Justin Van Smith for Vima Sunets is 27th, and Victor Bernat for Fretchenera is 28th. Andrea Canalia falls through with his team out just behind in 29th, with Jonas Lepit in P30, and Raphael Erham completes over through to another 31 car grid as he will be starting in P31. Predictions, Lorenzo, since you've now seen the grid.
And having seen the grid again and refreshing my memory, I'm gonna go for a fairly unpopular, I would say, prediction, in which I see Mark Silagi finishing this race on the podium. He is starting P3 here on the reverse grid order, and I think he might retain that position, if not go up to P2. However, because of the amount of drivers that got reversed, Cody Nikolakowski is going to have an easier job catching everyone in front of him compared to Mateusz Piszczan and Ben Skinner, which is why I think we'll see Latkovsky and Szilágyi both on the podium, but in which positions, I'm not entirely sure. And I'm also not entirely sure who'll be joining him as the third and last person on that podium. But, I mean, that's why you have these 12 laps to find out, and I'm excited to find out.
To find out we will who can be victorious in race 2. Who will it be as the 3 lights, the 4 lights, the 5 lights are coming on? The sprint race in Jeddah is underway. A pretty decent start there from Alexei, defender from Luvnik though, but Szilágyi and David John going to be battling for positions as the Killer Racing fends off through a bit of contact on the back between Szilágyi and the car behind, but Szilágyi will still come out into P3 at the moment. And look at this, David John find himself a bit under pressure there from Hayek as they're going to go a little bit side by side. Now it reduces down to just 1 car field now as they approach still through to the first sector. Everyone's like, oh my goodness me, that was contact from Glamsetter, and he's dropped off down the other massively out from the out of the racing surface, and Ben Skinner and Matej are both jostling for positions. David De Vries goes a little bit wide, will allow for David to go 3, goes wide once again, and it's going to allow for Hayek to get his way on through, but Glamsetter has dropped all the way down to P31st after what has been a very, very poor turn 4 there. I think he got caught in a spin, I believe, but look at this, a bit wide. Okanagan goes, that's going to allow for Denley and Latkovsky to both take advantage for it. They're both going to go on through, but look at this, Okanagan doing his best to fend off, and fend off he does. He still holds on to P8. Alexei still leads, Luvnik 2nd, Szilágyi 3rd, Jans 4th, and Hayek 5th.
Very, very interesting start to the race so far as we see yellow flags in sector 2, and James Rockwell has dropped a position and he's dropped another one. He's dropping even more as Chris Davis has gained 2 positions in one go. Samuel Slav now dropping, so something has happened in the back. James Rockwell is there without a front wing, and I think Samuel Slav might have hit something or someone because he's dropped down a couple of positions as well. And what happened to James Rockwell there? And we saw yellow flags in sector 1 at the beginning of the lap as well, so something has happened at the start, something has happened here as well towards the end of the lap, and quite frankly I'm curious to see what happened, but at the same time I don't think we'll have enough time to check it just yet.
Oh my goodness me, got completely sidewiped. I think he was just trying to keep it straight, but one of the Freccianeros completely... Oh my goodness me, that is just so unfortunate. Lap 2 though, Day will still lead as it goes a bit sideways right on exit. That will allow for Misha and for Szilágyi to both take advantage from it, as Danley Youngstra are both battling for position. Same with, I think, those Brenna and Brenna, and yeah, just my goodness me, it's already been a completely hectic start already, and we're still only lap 2 out of 12.
It is indeed. We're only, well, 1/6 of the race through. And we've seen James Rockwell is now in the pit lane, and I think he's joined Kotian Krzyminski. So the sole Academy car in today's event is now, as it stands, the sole DNF in the second race. So a poor event for the Academy team as it stands, as the yellow flags in sector 1 is Denley and Carola. Denley is dropping further than Carola, so something has happened between the 2 drivers.
Yeah, it really has, and that's very, very unfortunate, as Denny's going to find himself in a bit of a pickle, as Chris Davis is going to aim for his first points in GPVWC this year, but is he able to do it? Denley goes a little bit wide, trying his best to fend off. He's now going to try and apply pressure onto Tina Kurtz, who's currently into P14 at the minute, as she's trying her best to try and keep ahead of Jonas Karola, but is unable to do so. So a lot of replays to look through, but this one between Alfie and Jonas, it was a bit of a tangle through, I think, through a hard braking zone, as we have to look for the replay.
Oh.
Denley tried. Yeah, Denley tried to go around for the outside. He tried to go around for the outside, but I think he was just way too close, I think. Like, I think Jonas did what he possibly can, because Ben Skinner was obviously down the inside. I think he couldn't go any more tighter. So I think, and Glamsitter got in midst of a 3 wide as well himself. And I think that's a squeeze and a half there. Do you think Glamsitter shut the door, or?
I don't know. I don't.
It's hard to tell. It's honestly hard to tell from us here.
Oh
dear. Oh dear.
That's Kotian Krzyminski and Justin van der Smissen deciding to merge like Saiyans. But obviously with FS2 cars it doesn't work, but what happened to he got tagged from behind by Krzyminski, and Krzyminski got the short end of the stick there in the end, which does feel in a way like some sort of karma, but that's not to say Van der Smissen wasn't affected either, and the Dutch driver now all the way down in 26th, and oh, something has happened to Chris Davies because he's dropped down from 16th to 25th.
The Petralia has also retired as well, and Canalia, so we've got already lots of retirements, and something must have happened between that battle for the point scoring position. And meanwhile, Lufnik has taken the lead off of Alexei and is going to try and run away with it. A bit of a replay though to see what has happened for Chris Davies though, as this is him against that's Layla, so going to be going almost 3 wide, and approaching over for this one, it's going to swing around. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh.
It looked from that angle like he was clipped by Filip Chewinski, and then that slight contact caused Chris Davies to go into the side of... Oh no, he touched the wall, and then Chewinski just sort of touched... Chewinski touched...
That's a... Oh dear, that's a rejoin, isn't it? Very, very unfortunate. Just very eager to get on track, and I don't think the driver I had was kind of expecting it. So, unfortunately, Savinsky goes through to the pits and gets a new front window. Yeah, but Alex Day manages to retake the lead though. Salagi and actually Lufnik has dropped heavily. He's now out of DRS. So something must have happened to Lufnik, I think, or maybe it might have been just an overtake. But Day now leads again.
Day does lead indeed, but I don't think Leuven could have lost so much time just from being overtaken. I think he should have, must have made a mistake somewhere that we didn't see while looking at the replays, and now he's going to have to pray that Alex Day makes an equal, if not bigger mistake, for him to go back into the lead. And speaking of that lead, I mentioned that Cody Nikolatkovsky is going to be one of the challenges for it because Pishan and Skinner are so far back. Pishan is now in front of Latkovsky, although not by much. Latkovsky is not in DRS, but is 9/10 behind the Polish driver, although the gap between Pishan and Silagi, so P4 and P3 respectively, is 5 seconds. And there's a further race left now for Pishan to close that gap. I think he can, but whether he will is a different thing, because Pishan will have to watch behind himself and Silagi will have to try and challenge Leuven. So both drivers will lose time in that, as we saw yellow flags in Sector 1, although nobody seems to have been affected majorly, unless it was one of the back markers. But nevertheless, as we see Samuel Slava, this is just overtakes, I thought that something might have happened further in the back. But nevertheless, it's going to be interesting to see how this battle unfolds between Pishan and Latkovsky, who seems to be holding up a train as opposed to challenging Pishan, as Ockenhaug seems to be not willing to stay in that train and challenge Pishan himself.
Yeah, the thing is that if they continue to fight, that's going to allow for Pishan to have an even bigger gap, and Pishan is effectively going to do all he possibly can to kind of bridge the gap between himself and the leaders. And the fact that he's got no one behind to really kind of challenge him for that is all the advantage for him and all the disadvantage for Okanaga and Lakowski. So we could see Mateusz, if he didn't get a race win in race 1, he can try to get one here in race 2, but we're about halfway of the race and he's got quite a gap to kind of close up about, only about 4.9 seconds, and that's going to be determined if Day Lufnik gets Laggy are going to battle amongst themselves as well.
It will indeed, as there's yellow flags in Sector 2, and Alfie Denley has dropped quite a lot of positions. He's now down in P18, so it could have been something happening to Alfie Denley again, and we saw how good he was in race 1, so to see him so far down in race 2, it does hurt to see, because McManus were doing exceptionally well today before the contact between Carola and Denley, at which I wouldn't say either party was at fault from what I saw, but nevertheless there's still half the race to go. It's lap 5 of 12, lap 6 about to start. And see Rafael Orhem is well front wing, he's down in P27. Is he out of the race? Or did he just... What happened to Rafael Orhem, can we see?
This happened very early on.
Oh, he has pulled over and retired. So
He
that's
did,
another
so-
retirement for the Swedish driver. I think that is his
That's definitely
6th retirement this season of the 8 races across 4 rounds we had. That's Alfie Denley, who hit Tina Curtis trying to go for a dive bomb, but might have just either locked up or not braked enough.
what was.
Either way,
He
he
didn't really quite control the car.
it was unintentional, obviously, but it
well,
was a mistake on
obviously
Denley's
not.
part, and he did get the short end of the stick there. So, at the end of the day, Tina Curtis is the one in P14, and Alfie Denley is the one in P18. So, the Irish driver is going to be more than pleased compared to the Thai driver as to where she is on track. Although she might be losing that position soon, because there is a bit of a train behind her. Victor Bernat is down in P15. He's had, from the 7 races we had so far, this is the 8th one running, he's DNF'd 7 times and finished P5 the other 2 times.
Shh.
No, he's DNF'd 5 times and finished P5 2 times. But down in P15, he's going to be telling himself, solo quiero más, he wants more, and he does need those points for Freccianera, because Andrea Quinaglia has had a shocker of a round today, and Luca Tizano's Italian outfit will want those points.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, actually, a chance to get points even more as he'll be applying pressure onto Curtis. But attention up ahead, though. This is going to be the battle for P9. Craig Patterson leads through a field of himself, Youngstra, and Carl up for P9. And, well, Youngstra seems all the more posed to take the lead off from the man from Guernsey. Does so up into P9. Jonas looks over to the inside, but doesn't really want to do it. He doesn't want to be at the detriment of his teammate, so he's going to try and look for a better, easier way to get past and see if Craig Passett can apply the pressure for him to take advantage of. And this is pretty good teamwork, if I do say so myself, as they just going to try and see how Craig Passett is going to do, but he is fighting a little bit more than Carla is, so a position change might be bit more favorable for the priority 1 lot. And yeah, you can just see he's already gone wide, already struggling a bit. And I think looking over through to the hairpin they go, still staying in P10 and P11 respectively. Did see a bit of a positions swap and change, I think, in the timing tower, but and a brief yellow flag, but we should be still good. Lap 7 have 12. Still a handful of laps to go. Pischan has now managed to get to 2.8 seconds. That gap between P4 and P3 is kind of slowing down. But Salagi, meanwhile, is 2.1 seconds. So he's fading off to Mitcha and Alex. So Matej's real gap is more like 5 seconds still. So it's still stagnated as it seems. So this is the replay with Denley, who ahead is, I think that is Casper, and simply just goes wide. What?
It's just.
It's just him
I'm
going
not quite
wide.
sure. I'm not quite sure why we're looking at Alfie Denley. Yellow flag is flashed again in sector 3, still flashing. There was a slow car in front of Alfie Denley. Is this something related to Samuel Slavev? Doesn't seem like there's any visual damage on his car. Mihailovic and Tievich, no. Doesn't seem to be him either. So it was a bit of a longer yellow flag, but we're not quite sure why. As
Glimpse into switch positions, so a replay very shortly. So here we go. Looking over down through to the 3rd sector. Ooh, just a simple loss, but nothing too. I don't know why.
there's more right now. There's more yellow flags right now. But I'm sure we'll see on the timing tower what happened. Oh, it's Alfie Denley again. Is he out of the race now?
Let's see.
Or did he just have another
Turn
spin?
1. Sounded to turn 1. He just slightly bangs the wall. That's a simple spin. I think he was just waiting to rejoin. Oh boy, that was so close. Then does rejoin at least. Pretty
He does
good.
rejoin safely. Very close by.
Yeah, he does. So yeah, it's fine. Still, it's just in P23, and well, it really is a race to forget from, isn't it? So pretty devastating, but alas, the race will still go on. 8 out of 12. The look on the positions that have been gained. Worked at the biggest gainer of them all, Pischan and Ben Skinner, both doing very well. 4th and 5th, they both equally gained 9. And then outside that, Casper as well also gained 10 as he's still eyeing for points. Yukonis has lost his front. Oh, wait, has he?
I don't think he has. It's just pitch black, so it's hard to see.
Yes. Yeah.
Same thing with the Aquila Racing one. Don't scare us like that, you know.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
Oh no! Oh no.
See,
It is. It's really hard to see.
It is really hard. Lap 9 out of 12. Apologies for that, viewers. So we're going to go on board with Jonas now with his front wing still intact. And look at this battle that David de Vries is going to be under pressure from Youngstra and from Jonas. Jonas makes an overtake for P9 almost. Oh, a bit of a tank slapper, and de Vries denies him that position ahead. But Youngstra gets his way past on with ease.
Oh,
and look at this,
wide.
Skinner and Nikola Koski, a bit of a contact for once again. And Aukenhag, it almost would have been the same as his teammate in Glomsetter, but Aukenhag luckily came out a little bit unscathed, but loses like 2 positions. The process as he goes drifting, and a little bit of attack there from de Vries, and now it's going to be amidst in a 3-wide battle, going to be going right down through to the hairpin as they're going to go side by side by side. Who will come up front top? Aukenhag has to kind of play the middleman here, and he does so pretty well, and least the best he can do is P9 at the moment, as he'll stay through behind de Vries for the moment.
He will, but I don't think he'll be staying there, not even by the end of the lap. That seemed like quite substantial damage to Aukenhag's suspension there, and we saw how much he struggled in Sector 1 and Sector 2 there, and I think it's going to be so easy for the cars behind him, especially with the drivers behind him being Carroll and Patterson and Junt and Hayek. It's going to be easy for drivers like those to just go past him, although he's the one who went past David de Vries now, but de Vries will be the one having DRS above, well, on Aukenhag here, as Carroll will have DRS on both of them as well, and maybe make it 3 wide into the final turn.
This is going to be pretty interesting to see who will come on top. Aukenhag has the inside line. De Vries going to try with a sheer commitment to go through. A bit of a tank slap in the back there from Jonas, but he'll still hold on to P10. And look at this. Now going to go 3 wide ahead and also 3 wide in the back here. Still going to be going through lap 10 of 12 down into turn 1. Aukenhag will still have the inside line. Is it going to be enough though for him to hold on to P8? We'll have to see. Jonas briefly jumps into P9, and Aukenhag seems to be dropping. De Vries has the clear capitalization to get up into P8 though, and Jonas doing his best to fight with Aukenhag. This is going to be for P9. Ooh, and Aukenhag down to the inside line for turn 3, kind of cemented for him. So that very good battle, I must say. Again, still very clean fighting that we're seeing in the midfield, which is pretty nice.
Pretty nice indeed. But again, Aukenhag with the damage he has, and Carola and Patterson, we saw him earlier. Kuritz is there, very close to the points. He's P16 challenging Glomsetter, but turning my attention personally while we watch this battle to the 3 cars leading this train. They seem to be dancing on ice basically, because the tire wear and the damage for Aukenhag as well seems to be affecting him so much, and they're holding up the drivers behind them. Hayek, I'm sure he'd love to get past all 3 and try and maybe catch David de Vries, who's now peeled off 1.5 seconds from Aukenhag. David Junt, who's dropped so far down compared to where he started. I'm sure he'd love to gain some of the positions he's lost as well. Victor Bernat, who I said he'd want more points for himself and Frechenera as well. Glomsetter and Kuritz there as well. Orbit and Fox Esports, the 2 main contenders for the team championship. As a yellow flags in sector 2, they're going 3 wide into the final turn, and Kuritz and Glomsetter, no, Glomsetter doesn't, there's contact between them.
Oh, goodness me. Casper with the fantastic downform is a bit overshadowed between Bernat and Glamset. I think Bernat kind of slammed the door, and Glamset are going to try and best to respond. This is going to be for the last point scoring position. Side by side between these two. Have to worry about one of the cars from behind a little bit too much. A bit of a defense there from Glamset as he's going to try and fend off. Tina could be a beneficiary from this, but unable. She's not close. And it is Glamset and Bernat still holding on through. You can just see ahead. Okak doing his best to defend from Youngstra, my goodness me, this is a tense battle. Sorry, Okanek from Hayek, my apologies. But yeah, Okanek is just completely doing his best to keep this crowd afloat, or his train afloat for the time being, because it is a very valuable position that he holds on to at the moment. And my goodness me, it's just a little bit nerve-wracking to see with all the tire going on through as there Casper continues to make his way, charge up the field as he's now up at the P12.
He is indeed. I don't think he'll be stopping there. I think he can catch, and oh well, he's caught already. He's in that train. But I think he can overtake Patterson and Hayek and Dockenhaug by the end of this race. And I think he can not only overtake them, but I think he can eclipse them by the end of the last lap as well and build up a bit of a gap. He was in relatively clean air compared to the rest of this group for the better part of the first half of the race. So I think he'll have fresher tyres and, well, better tyres, especially compared to Carroll, to Patterson and to Ockenhaug. To Hayek maybe less so, but I think it'll be enough for the Estonian to get past all three of them and finish in P9 eventually. Oh. As Luvik and Day are gonna give us a little battle for P1 at the last lap.
Yep, they are, and Luvnik with the DRS capitalizes his opportunity and makes his way on through, and Alex Day has got all the cards in order to respond this, or is Luvnik have a sizable gap because he's not been pushing his tires as much as, well, I think Day has ever since he's kind of fanned off the lead. So is Luvnik going to hit the ground running? We have to wait and see. Lap traffic a bit ahead, still an intense battle going on from ahead. Corral, I think that was dropping down from the order. David Yunt as well, Hayek as well, and Kuritz has got himself the P10, but still the battle for the lead. And look at this intense battle of the shifting of the cars going sideways and sideways, and still P15 is not safe whatsoever. None of these point scoring positions are safe whatsoever, as this train is going to be completely hectic and no one ever seems to know who's going to come on top. There's cars going completely off as Bernat and Parson goes off track, and Dunes rejoin pretty fine, but David Yutt going to try and get P14, unable to do so. Through over to the hairpin, they're all going to go still in a single file line, as Hayek going to try and look his way around for the outside, unable to do so.
Yeah, but this is the part of the track where it's a bit harder to overtake. There is a DRS zone, but it comes after a bit of a chicane. I'd rather turn attention to the top two. Is Alex Day going to be able to close down on Mika Luving? He's 8 tenths behind. This is the penultimate DRS zone, so they're approaching the final corner now. Will the Czech driver be able to overtake the Dutch one and win the race? It might be a drag race to the finish here. It's only 3 tenths between the two of them, so they will have DRS, and I think they might not be able to do it. It looked too epic to be true, and it was Mika Luving, the person who comes potentially a one-off for McKenna Racing, gets the win for McKenna Racing, and Szilágyi beats Pishan to the line for P3 as well. So the Hungarian holds on for that podium that I anticipated for him to get, and it's a bit of a battle behind as well. Latkovsky edges out Skinner and Youngstra. Battle here as well. Glomset. Oh, there's contact between. Oh no!
That's after the racing line. I think it should be fine and safe. Everyone goes through across the line, and well, the two Fox Esports make a collision. I don't think that's any penalty to be of sort, but I think the collision happened out of the safe zone, so I think it might be just a warning. I think for that happened, but Misha Luvnik at the very last minute clinches the race win off, and McKenna Racing also their first win of the season. And looking on board with Magnus Okkenhaug, this is the replay that we've had from him. Oh dear. And
can we take a look at that from Casper Kuritz's POV?
Did he run out of fuel? He didn't he? No, he was fine. He was just trying his best to like fend off, and oh god, that's bump drafting. Jesus. Okay, forget what I said. I don't think it will be like a warning for crashing after the race, but the display community again is a bit there, and oh goodness me, bump drafting in that nature is very, very hard. And talking about very, very hard, the battle between Pushchan and Zalagi for P3, and talk about fine margins. Thousandths of a second that was between the Hungarian and the Polish driver, and unfortunately Pushchan couldn't make it a double podium. But still, that was a valiant effort there. And it's joys and jubilations for, well, both Irish racing teams, but one more so than the other. McKenna Racing gets their long-awaited first race win in their Formula Sprint 2 campaign. And Misha Nuvlik on his, well, a fantastic appearance for himself in McKenna Racing. If it is cemented and confirmed, then what a way to do it in style for him. Well, here goes the...
Are you not doing it?
I am doing it. My apologies. Final race results. We have Misha Luvnik, brilliantly takes the win at the very last minute, and Alex Day gets his first podium, which is fantastic there, and Elk International's first podium as well. Yay. Mark Salagi for Killer Racing is third, narrowly beats Mateusz Pushkan through to the line in fourth. Koninnik Lakowski, very good effort from himself, and he'll finish over in fifth. Ben Skinner, race 1 winner, he will finish over in 6th with Tice Youngster in 7th. David Avry for VMS Sunnits is 8th. Magnus Ockenhack for Foxy Sports is his 9th. Casper Kurtz rounds off through the top 10 as he finishes on the points for Orbit Motorsports. Christian Glamsetter is 11th for Foxy Sports with Victor Bernat for Frechenera in 12th with P13 going to Dan Hayek for Amoldova Drive. Craig Patterson for Priority 1 is 14th with David Yunt in P15. And then the 9-point scorers, Jonas Corrala unfortunately misses out, Tina Curtis in P17, Samuel Slava for MXU in 18th, Jonas Lepet is in P19, and Chris Davis for Chimera Racing rounds off through the top 20. Filip Zavinsky is 21st, Eric Brenner is 22nd, Mihajlo Vicentijevic is 23rd, Amir Hazik in 24th, I think it says he DNF'd on the last lap. Justin Radismussen is in 25th, and the retirements being Alfie Denley from what we've heard from Chris Williamson. He flipped, my gosh. Rafael Urham, Leila Petraglia, Andrea Ganalia, James Rookwhite, and another driver as well. That unfortunately didn't finish was Korian Krinsminski. So that has been it. Okay, that's been a fantastic race to have witnessed. And with that in mind, we'll go over through to the interviews. And I think with that in mind, do you think we should interview? I can hear the fate sobbing of Remco de Zeeuw as we realise that we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 people. I think it's best that we interview Alex LaHogue for this because he definitely did a fantastic 2 races.
Let's not bring in Alex LaHogue, not even as a joke, please.
Or what about Loic Munier, who did fantastic in race 2? Actually, no.
Let's make life easy for Remco. When have we ever made life easy for Remco? Remco's life has always been hard. Exactly. That's why we need to make it easy for him.
Oh my goodness me, jeez.
I say the first person we bring up is, well, not the first person, but the first group of people are the McManus folk in Carl McManus, Mateusz Piszczan.
Ben, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm not Mateusz Piszczan.
Yeah, fantastic. You're getting first.
I'm not even being listened to. It's like Bahrain again.
Oh, too bad.
Where's Casper?
Hello?
Casper's not in here.
Casper's not in here. Ben, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Samuel, can you hear us?
Yes.
Fan dabby dozy. Well, fantastic for yourself. Ben got a race 1 victory, and you, Samuel, should be happy as well with another win added to your team's accolades as well. So both of you must be pretty happy with the results.
Happy with the result. Not happy with either race 1 or race 2. How some people raced. It's
Magnus.
Don't call people out on the stream though.
I'm like that.
Well, Yeah, I'm happy with the race 1 win. It's my rush track as well, so got to cut your losses.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, massive congratulations though. But I think with the race 1, your battle with yourself, Matej, and Casper, I think was very, very interesting. I think. So, how did your mind kind of go for the process? Did you feel it was a repeat of Bahrain in race 1? And what was your approach to this battle differently than the race prior in Bahrain?
My approach for Bahrain, it was like 1v1v1, right? This one was more of a 2v1 against me. So I don't want to say much more, but that's how I felt, and I wasn't very happy about it. But it is what it is.
Lorenzo?
Yeah, I've asked Ben. We're yet to ask Samuel. Well, actually, I'll begin with 2 questions for you, Samuel. First of all, a bit of a disappointing race here at Jeddah. Would you like to talk us through it, or would you rather keep it to yourself and focus on the rounds coming up?
Well, I had 10 laps of practice. That's all I can say. I literally practiced race 1 after I got damaged, and I just pitted, and then I did my practice laps after that. But race 2 was actually better. Like, I wasn't on pace, but I was only a few tenths off. And then I caught up to the fight for what is it, P8? Like, right at the final lap. So it's a better result. And like, for no practice, I'm pretty alright, but I'm really looking forward to next round. Ben Skinner said I'm going through a camp. I'm going through Hell Week.
You're going to see Samuel Slavev back in the top 10. Back in the top 10.
I want to see Samuel Slavev training.
Big V locked in again.
I need a Rocky montage of it.
I'll get you some clips, don't worry.
Yes.
Big V locked in again, bro.
Yeah. But moving on from that, Sepang. Obviously, quite a different track compared to Jeddah. And first of all, how do you feel as a driver coming into it? And how do you feel as a team owner going into it? Because after this round, after these 4 rounds, both Casper and Ben have had, objectively speaking, their moments in some races. So now it's a bit of a crossroads. We saw them clash today, and Ben himself said he wasn't best pleased. So will you let them duke it out between one another for the Drivers' Championship, or will you tell them to stay more focused on the Teams' Championship?
Okay, I'll start as a team because that's what we're talking about. As a team, I like there to be more teamwork. I don't mind them fighting, as long as it's fair and not like how it happened today, like people that are not really in the championship because they're doing a one-off or helping Casper, let's say. Like, I don't support that. Casper is plenty good to be able to race better on his own. So I think they just should work together to carve out ahead, and then they can fight all they want as long as they don't crash. I don't really mind it, and as long as it's fair and square. Oh, I need to say as a driver. As a driver, Sepang, I've never driven on it actually, so I don't know what to expect, to be fair, but it looks like a nice layout. So I'll see what Master Ben can teach me, and if we can
training pack.
If we can do something good. But yeah, that's it.
All right then. Well, I don't think we got any more questions. I haven't. Have you?
Samuel, can you just stay in the interview or the broadcast room for a few minutes? Ben, massive congratulations on your... That sounded really enormous. I apologize. Ben, well done in your race 1 win. Fantastic there. And that clinches your championship lead even more. And all the best luck of you two in Sepang.
Thank you, Amir.
No, go away.
We're bringing Cody in?
Yes, that's why I wanted to make Samuel stay in for a little bit more, as I want Cody as well to kind of interview, because actually this position kind of bumped him up into P4 in the standings, tied with Filip Savinsky, which is absolutely huge, and propels himself up into a little bit of a outside championship contender, as you will, even though he's missed 1 round. But Cody, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
It's been a pretty interesting race for you, but a lot of positives, I think, from your end, considering that where you started, P7 and P5. Good results, I think, for yourself and the team.
I would say that it was the best that I could get out of the situation personally, because I came into this round with maybe 30 minutes of practice, and we have setups that we need to deal with here. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. I think maybe another position or two, but yeah, the podium was off the table today, and yeah, very, very pleased with it. I didn't quite get a chance to see where Samuel finished, but if I think if we just keep at this, we'll have some solid results for the rest of the season, and we're probably not going to win anything, but why not? Top 5, top 3, perhaps. That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
We said this every round.
Yeah, I know.
Not next round. Next time we practice.
Yeah, next round you practice as well, okay?
Yeah, well, I'll make sure to do that.
Yep. We'll practice with each other.
Yeah, I heard there's gonna be a Rocky montage of his practice.
Yep, indeed.
Lorenzo?
Yeah, obviously you mentioned before we brought him in, Amir. Cody, not as strong of a showing as you've had in Bahrain, for example, but still a showing good enough for you to bring you up into 4th position in the driver standings, equal on points with Filip Czerwinski. Do you think that, obviously you said you're busy with quite a lot of different sims and different leagues, do you think if you manage to find more time to devote to FS2 compared to Jeddah, that you'd be able to break into the top 3 and potentially challenge the orbit pairing?
I would say that it's very likely. Like 30 minutes, come on, you give anyone 30 minutes and they're going to have a tough time. So, yeah, look, as you've said yourself, I'm very busy, been on a trip, got work, got all these other things I have to contend with. FS2 is always there in the back of my mind. I'm always looking forward to when race day comes along. Maybe this time around, just wasn't quite it. But hey, that's how it is sometimes. And you know what? At the end of the day, I'm getting results, I'm getting points, and who knows? Maybe the people up ahead, they'll trip over, they'll miss a race, or they'll get a DNF, as unfortunate as it may be, and that could be a step forward. As long as I'm there in the moment where I could capitalize on something like that happening, then I'm glad. I don't think I'm going to be able to quite pull off an overall win against the likes of, say, Philip or Ben or Casper, but I'll give it my best, and we'll see how it goes.
Yep. All right then. Any more questions from yourself, Amir, or are we done here?
No, I think that you've answered everything. It's honestly so good to see, I think, a kind of a bit of a challenge going up ahead. But thanks again, Cody. Thanks again, Samuel, for your time for the interviews, and best of luck over to your next race. Come for Sepang. All the best.
Yeah, cheers. Next time, give Samuel some more interview time, all right?
No, I don't need it. Nobody's results.
See ya.
We will. See you.
See ya.
Take care.
Okay. Next up, we've got with the bullets in my head, we've got the well, actually, honestly, to be honest, they really do deserve it, though. Honestly, in my opinion. So we'll bring over through to the pairing of the McMahon.
Why we got Michu Lewing here? He's not part of McManus, to my knowledge. We missed it up on Max.
Hello, bro. I was watching on stream. Why is Kyle in here?
I'm what do you mean what's Kyle in here? Why we are lacking one driver here in Alfie.
Get Alfie.
Yo, what did Alfie do, man? Alfie was upside down in race 2, bro. Why is he here?
We didn't get to see the replay, but if we drag him in, I'm sure he can tell us. And hopefully language appropriate for the stream, because we had Amir way earlier.
We don't talk about that. Immediate trait. Anyways, big advantage for you, McManus, and also for yourself, Danley, and yourself, Mateusz. I think it's McManus's best performance to date for yourself as team owner, and Mateusz for yourself in your FS2. I think appearance, and also for yourself, Danley, as 6 has been your joint highest performance. So I think all of you have been extremely thrilled with how Jeddah has turned out for you all.
Yeah, it's absolutely lovely, mate.
Alfie, you go first, man.
Yeah, go on, Alfie.
Race 1 went lovely. Race 2, I can't say anything about it. I need to let DC decide everything about it, because if I say anything, I'll get in trouble.
Nah, Alfie.
Yeah, that seems
tell us about race 1, bro.
Yeah.
Race 1. Alright. Oh, I don't know how to explain it.
Lord.
Alright, so Christian went down the inside of me. Good move by him. No. Unas, he does his own things. Me, I start falling off. You know, start catching up. Made a mistake.
Oh.
Stuff happens.
That seems about right. What about race 2? Or do we skip race 2 and move on to Mateusz?
What's race 2? Never heard of it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, there was only one race today, I think.
Yeah. What about you, Mateusz? How did your one race today go?
Decent. I'm happy with my performance. A bit of a shame for me that I missed out on a win on a podium just on the back straight. I think there was one more lap, then maybe I could have won race 2, but that's an if. Race 1 is not a secret. I was working with Kaspar, so the plan was that I was gonna work with him. It didn't help me that he put in the wall twice in half a lap. I mean, everything went as I wanted it to go in race 1. Race 2, I got, I can say, a bit lucky with the crash that happened between Devry, Hayek, and some other drivers. I was like, I'm gonna keep my foot to the floor and see what happens, and I just made 5 overtakes in one corner. I've took out some people on lap 1, so I have to hold my hands up. I apologize again to James Rokai and Christian Gramstetter, even though I think it's not my fault, because Ben kind of was up my inside, so I had nothing to do there. And I think that's it.
Again, something for the DC to decide, but nevertheless, good round from you, Mateusz, and a bit of an unfortunate race too, but still a race 1 from you again, Alfie. I just have one question for Kyle. Obviously, amazing results today, but one thing I mentioned on the stream in the lead up to race 1 is that the second seat over at your team is a bit of a revolving door. Mateusz is the 4th different driver in these 4 rounds you've had in that second seat to partner Alfie. Do you, by any chance, have someone lined up for Sepang to fill in for the remainder of the season, or are you still working on it, or has it not even crossed your mind yet?
I'll probably find out like a day before the race, because like I've not got anything planned, and Candor doesn't help like blowing up his PC.
Oh yeah,
he's a bit of a buffoon.
Yeah,
he needs to sort it out, honestly. But I don't know, Alex Day. I know Alfie really wants him in the seat, so you know,
do I?
Might have to try and get him.
Yeah, I think if Alfie weren't on air, I think he'd make his thoughts known.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd be really happy about it.
Yeah. Any questions by you, Amir?
Really happy, mate.
Kyle, will this ever be topped?
When I drive,
no,
it'll be topped. I'll win the race.
Okay, gotcha.
I believe it. I believe it.
How, mate? You can even beat someone.
Beat someone.
Yeah.
Mateusz, for you, I know.
Oh.
Come on, Alfie, it's getting streamed.
No, mate.
But Mateusz, I know you're. I know you. The wind didn't do that. Mateusz, I know this is your only race, your only appearance in FS2 so far. But is there any other like tracks or plans for yourself in terms of like GPVWC you want to like aim for the season?
Yes, I'm planning to do a return in Singapore, hopefully on a new wheel. I don't think the new wheel will make me the GOAT, but I think it's gonna be a nice addition. I'm thinking to do Monza maybe, if it's on the calendar, I don't even know.
Might be, it's a DLC this year.
Yeah, well, I will crack it somehow, some way, shape or form.
Oh yeah.
Wait, no, I have Monza. I drove Monza already, I think.
Did you? I can't... Was it
I
a
mean,
DLC?
okay, I was meant to drive and then I didn't drive.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so I think a round or two later in the year might be a possibility, but don't count on it.
All right, we won't.
And final question for you, Alfie. You've got your, well, equally your best performance again. P6 in Bahrain, P6 in Saudi Arabia. The next Middle Eastern track that we're racing in is in Saudi Arabia many months from now. So are you going to be washed until then, or do you think you can replicate that in Sepang?
I think I'll be goated for that round.
Come on, son.
What?
They're not ready for me.
I believe it.
Yeah, we've got him in a good training program, you know.
Is it with some...
No, they put me in La Masia. They put me in La Masia.
He better
Yeah,
get set up for this race.
I heard Samuel Slav is going to be put for a training program as well. Is he going to be working with Alfie?
Oh, mate.
Yeah, he can come as well for once.
You can come to La Masia.
Your Barca got someone set off, by the way, just off topic.
Oh no.
And the most unserious interview segment has come to a conclusion. Thank you a lot, Big Manus Lot, for ruining the professionalism of GPVWC.
No,
but
no.
seriously,
What do you mean? I quite enjoy that.
no, you didn't. Remco's literally crying in the background. What are you on about? Kyle,
He's
Matej, Alfie,
muted.
thank you. Yeah, that's because he's crying in silence. Thank you so much, Alfie, Kyle, and Matej for your dedication. And Alfie, Kyle, best of luck for you to the next race. Matej, best of luck for the next time we see you. And
I'll
all the
try
best.
my worst.
Oh, for God's sakes! What was the
point? When I return in, hopefully I return one day. Definitely not McManus. Just making it.
No, you're coming to McManus again.
No, you're coming.
Don't even joke.
Definitely not McManus.
Okay, I think we'll let them discuss their contracts
hopefully
between one another away from the stream. We don't want... I moved Remco because one of them left while I was moving everyone.
Okay, we've got a couple ones left to do. I know you wanted to do the Emerald lot, but I want to do these ones coming up next. We have got the McKenna Racing pair, which honestly, I've got their finally after a long time of waiting. I've got their well-deserved race win in the end. But there you go. Micha, Nova, Yuho, Philip, can you hear us?
Yep. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you for taking me away from that chat, from that call.
Yeah, it's
no problem. Yeah, that's
it is absolutely crowded, but lots of well, a little bit of a low, but lots of highs though for yourself as a team. Great start to the season, and now after a long time of waiting, it's been finally capped off with the race win. Nova, Misha, both of you I think must be extremely thrilled with that race to result.
Yeah, I mean, so my voice is a bit gone now. But yeah, and coming into this, I'd never expected that to happen. I mean, it's obviously a lot of luck that went into it. You know, the first race, I had a bit of a crashy incident with someone, and then having that top 14 and to be reversed was obviously very helpful. But yeah, I mean, day was extremely quick all race. It was so hard to keep up, and then you know you catch one in one corner, you catch a couple of tens, and then the next one he just takes off again, and it's so tricky to keep up, especially with these walls so close. So yeah, it was just at the end to have that last slipstream and DRS and getting him on that last lap, and then he had a pretty bad last lap, he told me, so it was lucky for me. Now, not lucky, some of it is luck, but obviously pretty happy with the pace and with the result today.
Nova?
Oh yeah, well, I'm really happy with the result, but yeah, fair, well done to Mika. Like, he played his cards right, kept it clean, and got him at the end, I suppose. That's all I can say. Like, well done, that's all I can say.
It's honestly good. Philip, on your end, it was, I think it was pretty chaotic, I think, from your end. I think you suffered from a chaotic race 1 and also a very, very chaotic race 2. And, well, I mean, I think it's been the first time since Australia round 2 that you've finished outside the points. But I think there's still lots of good things, though, to kind of taken away, like your point scoring position, for instance. And yeah, how do you feel overall?
I mean, it's just 2 days a day to forget. It wasn't really great. Qualifying was decent, but fourth was good. Then the disconnection in race 1 was just extremely unlucky. I don't know what caused it. And then in race 2, there was an unfortunate accident with one of the HBSs and one other car. When I think I did an unsafe rejoin. I'm yet to look into it, but yeah, and lost the front wing. So at least I got a fastest lap driving it cleaner. I'm happy about that.
Lorenzo?
Yeah, actually, I've got a question for Nova and for Philip. I'm going to ask Philip first. Philip, obviously you mentioned that the disconnection in race 1 hampered you, but you climbed back up in race 2, and I think you got a couple of points in the end there. However, that disconnection in race 1 did cost you, and you are now 4th in the standings, equal on points with Cody. Or actually, no, apologies. The results for race 2 are not in yet, only for race 1. But not counting race 2, you are equal on points with Cody for 4th place. So are you looking to work even more compared to what you've been doing so far to catch back up to Cody and the trio in front of you in Skinner, Glomsetter and Kuritz?
Well, it will be a very hard task. I'm missing the next 2 rounds because I'll be away on Erasmus, so that's...
Ooh, where to?
Malaga in Spain.
Lucky.
I know. But like, yeah, I'll be away, so that'll be a hard task to get back up, but my plan is just to focus on Imola from today, like tomorrow on, just get some practice in, get that set up, and just lock in for Imola and come back. That's just the plan. And also, just to clarify, I didn't score points in race 2. That was the P21.
Oops. Okay, then you are behind Cody on points in P5.
Don't rub it in him. Come on. Don't do that. Final question.
Yeah.
Final questions for you all. Nova, for yourself as a team principal, since we've got a good amount of the chunk of the races done, 4 races in, and you've been one of the more top performing new teams on the block, do you have any goals for yourself for the rest of the season? For Philip and for Micha yourselves, and also for you, Stoppinen, as well. Do you all have any like personal goals that you have for the rest of the season yourselves, and any like targets you want to aim for?
All I can hope is just keep up the performance. I think the performance at the minute is great, and even if we don't win the championship, if we get a good result, it'll be a great first season for us. Like, I think so far they've done incredible with a bit of unluck, but it's bound to happen over the course of the year, which I don't think should bring any of them down. And I think hopefully with the strong pace that we've been shown the last couple of races, we can probably continue into the European leg of the season.
Philip?
Well, I don't think I have anything else to say, really. That's all.
Fair enough. Micha, yourself?
Oh, well, I was called in on Sunday, and now I'm apparently full-time, almost. I don't know, really. But if I am, then I'm very focused, obviously, on getting this season underway, obviously. Some of these tracks in the future are not my strongest suit, but I'm still going to be trying to make something happen, especially for the constructors, you know, because in the drivers there's nothing I can do really. So it's going to be purely backing up Philip as much as I can, and Zeeuw if he's driving, for example. For sure, I just want to be a good team player this year, for as much as I can.
And you heal yourself?
I'm moving to the engineering department for McKenna as well. But also, if there's anything to do in team manager, secondary team manager, then of course I would do anything. But also moving to the next series as well. Well, I will be doing some reserve duties as well, because honestly, there's a bit of unknown things going on right now. So we'll see in the full time if I see myself as a full time for any other series, then honestly it will be pretty nice to have one. And honestly, I gotta give it up to Misha because he's done an amazing job. And honestly, for us, for the whole team, this has been a good weekend. But week actually, just not weekend. Philip, well, he was super unlucky in the race, but managed to maximize everything. But either way, I think the next step for me is to manage the drivers also a little bit and play a key role in the engineering department. And obviously, with the reserve duties at FS1, possibly also SL1, I'll be keeping in touch and see what I can announce in the future. It might happen on Thursday, the announcement, but we'll see about that, honestly. That's what's next for Zeeuw.
Sure. Thank you very much, Philip, Misha, Nova, and Euro for your times. All collectively, well done on your race win, your first race win as a team, and all the best luck for your next race in Sepang.
Thank you.
And congrats on your first podium, I think, is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yay.
Nice.
And great battle from Alex Day as well. Gotta give it up to him as well.
Yeah, don't rub it on my face. Come on.
All right.
I'll allow it.
See you.
I see it.
Okay, we've got. I think.
Well, actually, no. I think we should ask Remco. Do you feel like doing another interview, or are you just impartial?
I just want to do. Okay.
All right, Remco is full, right? But he sounds tired, so I think we can make it a quick one. Do we bring in Emerald over or Elk International?
I'm bringing them over here. Hello, Alex, Tina.
Hello. Yeah.
Hello. First of all, I know it was very last minute. Whatever team principal did it was super incompetent, but Alex,
I agree.
First podium for yourself. First podium for Elk. Must be very happy with that, I imagine, in race 2.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. It was a good race. I'm not really happy about the final lap, but otherwise it went really well.
We weren't quite able to follow you through the final lap because there was about an 8-car battle for P8. So...
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, I hit the wall on the banked corner, which kind of ruined my run. Since I was behind Misha at the time, it made me ineligible to go for a move because I was too far back and the DRS wasn't too powerful here. So it kind of ruined it because I was kind of controlling the race for a long while, but then I made a mistake, which kind of cost me. But otherwise, it was a really good race, and I'm happy.
Yeah, it was a very hectic one, but want to rewind the clocks a little bit back to race 1. Yourself, Alex, you're starting P20. I think it was like P28 or something, and yourself, Tina, P21st. You were both in the midst of a bit of that where all the sort of like crashes happened. I wanted to know like how you two both felt when you had to navigate through a bit like incident after incident after incident for yourselves.
I'll let Alex go ahead first on his one.
Okay. My plan for the first race was just to stay out of trouble because this track is a bit hectic and I was sure there was gonna be incidents. So it was my original plan, and then what I predicted did happen. So I kind of just avoided incidents and made some moves. There was a pretty big pileup in lap 4, which kind of jumped me into the top 15, which was points. So it was nice. It was just avoiding incidents after incident. So it was more of a tactical race than an actual like sprint.
Tina, yourself?
I'd say it's just like I just try to like avoid literally everything that was happening in front and behind me, honestly, because well, it's just FS2 really. I'm mechanic went into it just wanting to survive, and I ended up doing that. So I mean, I did get involved in one incident in race 1, but nothing I could have really done, unfortunately. That's just how it is. So I'm just glad I survived both races, I guess. Yeah.
Lorenzo?
I don't think I've got any questions, unless I'd be asking you, which...
You can ask me a question.
Alright, actually, I can't think of one now. I think we just call it here.
Okay,
And,
final,
yeah, the people
final
who I
questions
wanted
though.
to interview
Final questions
aren't
for you
here.
both. I know for you, Alex, and for you, and Tina, both of you are under emergency contracts, but do you think, I know you, Alex, I think some teams are interested in signing for you. I think McMahon's was one of them, so I'm curious if you're either looking to try for them again for another race, and Tina, are you planning to do any more GPVWC appearances, or do you think you'll just do, like, say, one-offs, or this will be it?
We're watching Amir Oates do dealing live on air, ladies and gentlemen.
What? No.
I'll just go ahead and say it. I'm just like focused on doing one-off appearances here and there. I'm not really committed to being in any series, so I'll just put that out there first.
Alex, yourself?
I don't even know. I'm gonna have to think about it, but I don't really. Well, I wouldn't say I don't enjoy the cars. I don't really like R Factor as in how it's driven. So I'll see. It shows I have some pace, so I can compete, but I don't know if it's worth my time because I don't really. Well, I enjoy it, but not. I think I'll race. I think I'll race and I'll see where it gets me, but I don't know what team I'm gonna go to.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But the fact you've done P2 though, I think since your last appearance in Melbourne was still very good, and yourself as well. P17 just outside of the points is still pretty remarkable for you both. So, as I turn my team principal face on, well done you both. I'm very proud of you too, especially since it's so last minute. Commentator face on. Thank you very much for your time, Alex and Tina, and
thank you.
I'll let you go both enjoy the rest of your night. But well done to you both.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Okay.
All right, let's move over the Alec International team as well away from the chat.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Oh, he's gone actually. All right, then I'm going to close out the stream. No, never mind, he's back.
I actually just dragged myself in. Yeah. Is that us then?
It is.
Okay.
Could be. There's no one else to interview.
Fair enough. Final closing thoughts then?
Decent rounds, I'd say probably better than Bahrain, you know. You and me, 2 weeks ago at Bahrain, said that it's a better track than Jeddah, which I still stand by, but it seems to have brought, well, at least Jeddah seems to have brought more exciting racing than Bahrain did, so I have to yield in that regard to Remco here. But yeah, we saw, he says thank you, of course he does. Anyways, we saw some lovely racing up front. We saw some crashes in the back that defied Mother Nature and just general physics. We saw the Rafael Lohan flip in race 1. But overall, I'd say the battles today were exciting. The driving lackluster, admittedly. But yeah, that's all for DC to check and decide what's going to happen. We just commentated over it, and I quite enjoyed my time here.
4 races in, and we have seen the conclusion of our 4th round and our 2nd street circuit. Ben Skinner got his 3rd race win added to his campaign this year, and the newcomer in the former Richard Luvnik in his Formula Sprint 2 debut gets an unlikely race 2 win, beating Alex Day through to the line. Matthias Pishkan on his also one market appearance, got P2 and P4 respectively, bringing McManus Motorsports their first podium as well. That is 4 races in. We've still got the rest of the calendar left to go. For you of you watching, we've still got more incredible Jeddah racing action upon us. 16th, the Thursday, 7:30 British Summer Time. It will be the Formula Sprint 1s. And then over to the 20th on Monday, on April, we have got the Malaysia Grand Prix for the Academy Series as GPVWC makes its return to the Sepang International Circuit for the first time in a very long while. And that to be a fan favorite, it'll be a benchmark to see how the drivers do, and a sign of things to come for everyone else in GPVWC. Then over to the 21st of April, we're still back into the Corniche circuit for Super Lights, and then in the 23rd, it is going to be the prestigious Super League Championship as well. All of them are going to be at the streams, same time, same place. But for those of you interested in Formula Sprint 2 action, we will be back on the 28th of April, the final race of the month. For us at least, as we travel to Malaysia in the Sepang International Circuit, a home track for 2 drivers actually, in Amir and Mika Hakimi, who will both make their appearances then. But until then, thank you all very much to the drivers. Apologies for those that didn't get an interview. We were running short on time. Thank you extremely much to Remco Zeeuw for his fantastic broadcasting, directing side of things. He's been completely fantastic for the first 4 races. Yeah, just phenomenal for him. Thank you as well very much to my fellow commentator Lorenzo Eterovic-Funcic for his fantastic analysis commentary throughout the first quarter of the season. He's been remarkable and incredible. And yeah,
you flatter me too much. You all want that great.
And for that, thank you all as well to the viewers for watching. Thank you all to the drivers for participating. I've been Amir. Thank you all very much for watching. We'll see you over at Sepang. Till then, it's goodbye.